Welcome to the channel, The Lethal Collective, episode 5, 1 week before the release of Scream. What's going on, guys?
Hey,
What's up?
We're right there. We're right there.
We're right there.
Can y'all
So
believe
close.
it?
So close. And for you guys that are in the chat, we had this really interesting conversation because we're so excited for the release of this movie. And we're also, as always, trying to think of protecting everyone, ourselves included, from any type of spoilers and so forth. So we just want to say this one more time, and I know everyone has had a chance to say it on their own channels. Please, no spoilers, no nothing. Just talking about our theories, our ideas, and so forth. And yeah, I just want to put that out there. But tonight, we're going to be talking about our final predictions for Scream 5 or Scream. What are we calling this movie, guys? And we said we're going to keep calling it
Scream 5. Absolutely.
Okay. All right.
So I still get people in my to this day. I get people in my comments that are like, well, not till this day because our comments are off, but up until like yesterday, I had people like literally that are like, like, why do you call it Scream 5? Stop calling it Scream 5. It's not called Scream 5. Nope. And I'm like, it is Scream 5. I mean, but here's the thing too. Like, if you look up, I don't know if anyone has, but I have. If you look up like the Google search results and the YouTube search results, number 1 is Scream 5. Because if you type in Scream, it comes up as 96. Like, yeah, so Scream 5.
It's actually Scream 2022.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say
it's Jake.
It's 2022. Like
no.
Keep talking that mess, Jake. Keep it up. Keep it up.
Listen, hey, I had a guy. I don't know if it's a guy or a girl. Anyway, somebody
here, Jake.
I feel the tension, man. Someone asked me just the other day on one of my videos. They're like, hey, are you ever going to stop calling this Scream 5? And my response was one word. It was nope. That was it. Nope. Never.
And you're not talking about Jordan Peele's nope. You're just saying nope.
Nope. No, exactly. That's right. Exactly. No, it's not.
It's Scream 5. I don't care what anyone says. It's Scream 5.
It's actually Scream 2022, Tyler.
But I'm pretty sure it's
oh boy.
I'm just saying, technically, that's how the marketing team wants to say it.
There's 2 things I know in this world. It's Scream 5 and Jake is a killjoy. That's it. Those are the 2 things I know.
I don't know why I agreed to do this live stream with this guy over here.
I'm just trying to figure it out too.
Shots are fired.
They are.
And for you guys that are in the chat, hate everyone. We got so many people: Jen, Miss Carter, Bobby, Clinton, Apollo, Lucca. Hey, what's going on, all you guys? Thanks for hanging out with us, waiting around for us. We appreciate it. It's funny though, but Jen said, "Is Fate and Jake gonna go at it?" I like that one.
We don't need to go at it. Jake's wearing a Night of the Living Dead beanie, which is just like his channel.
Oh God! Here we go.
All right.
Well,
wow.
I have to say, in Jake's defense, it's funny you say that, Fate, because Jake just happens to have the largest channel of all of us. Oh, snap! I guess it's working. I mean, I don't know.
Damn.
Just saying. I'm just stating a fact. That's all.
To be fair, we can all buy subscribers. I'm just saying.
Wow.
That sounds like something number 2 would say. So.
That is good.
The guy in second place. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
We can all buy subscribers. Some of us do it organically. Some of us buy.
Number 2 still a silver, so you can take that.
Hey, it's still a medal.
What's that thing from that Will Ferrell movie? If you're not first,
you're not first. You're
Ricky
last.
Bobby.
Yeah.
If you're not first, you're last. Ricky Bobby.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
that's hilarious.
I mean, there's also cheating though. I'm just saying.
Cheating. Oh my gosh, that's horrible. Oh my God.
Hey Reagan, how's it going? Good to see you here.
Reagan. All right. Nice. Okay, guys. So let's. God, you guys are so funny. Bobby is saying hello to everyone here. Thank you so much.
God, that doesn't acknowledge.
That's what I start calling you. That's it. Thank you, Bobby.
Can I say one?
Thank you.
I want to say one thing. And I've already said this to Steven before, but if Stu comes back, can you imagine? Steven's he's gonna have videos where he's like dancing and like and he is gonna go off, man.
I don't even know if my heart could. I don't know if my heart can take it. I don't know if I'll survive out of the theater if he shows up on screen. Let me tell you, dude, that will be a colossal. I can't even. It's my brain is going over to our overtime right now thinking about that. I can't even. If that were to happen, I would be spamming Fate's cell phone.
Everyone's gonna be calling up Fate.
I mean,
everyone.
Dude. Constant. Yeah.
I would be getting phone calls from people I don't even know. Like,
yeah,
you were wrong.
You were wrong.
So just to put into something into context with the whole Stu situation, by the way, is that specifically I'm going to be texting Tyler either a poop emoji or a thumbs up emoji if Stu is either in the film or not in the film. And we just talked about I know I've brought this up on live streams before in the past, but we were talking about if I accidentally send that text into our group chat and Steven sees it and he knows what that means. We all feel like his head's going to explode. So.
It would. God. And you're seeing it the night before, so I literally, my head would explode. It would be a total meltdown.
I can see it right now. You like go down to your knees. No.
I'm telling you,
yes.
The 14th, I'm either gonna be praised as the guy that told the truth, or I'm gonna be canceled off the internet.
Told the truth. You just guessed right.
It's one or the other. It's not the truth. It's the fact.
Please, come on now.
Oh my god.
You can be wrong, just like
Jake,
gosh. Or you can be.
Oh man.
Or you can tell the truth. Like my
I kind of hope he's in the film now. If that means you get canceled off the internet, I
mean, quicker than that Reddit.
Real quick, did you guys see the poll on the most recent poll that Jake bought subscribers?
Oh jeez.
Yeah,
that's right, Alan.
I saw
dude, come on now.
He can't get off now. That's his only point.
Jeez. Thanks, Jen. No. Yes, I'm trying to have the maturity.
He's a peacemaker in the group. He is. He's a gentleman.
So much.
He's the only gentleman out of this bunch.
Hey, speak for yourself.
Whoa. That was. Hey, I didn't say it.
Yeah, don't throw me under the bus. This is y'all's fate, not mine.
Listen, you and me have gone at it, Craven, and now me and Jake are going at it.
Oh man,
it's all over our community posts. It's
once again the last Lethal Collective.
It's blatantly known that me.
I know. Hey, look, I should have titled this "The Final Collective."
Forget about Rocky versus Drago, man. This is
right. Me and Jake can be professional. It's for work. You don't have to like everybody you work with. You just gotta,
Oh my gosh, you guys are killing me.
Yes. All right, guys. So. God, I don't even know what to say after that. All right, so
you're a saint. You're a gentleman.
Maybe. So all right, so let's do some housekeeping first. So let's just real quick. Let's talk about the fact of just why we have the comments disabled, just so that people can get a sense of that, because some people may not have heard or they may not know exactly why. So let's just get that out of the way first, and then we can get into some of our predictions, plus our big announcement. That's another nice thing too, the big announcement. But for disabling comments, we basically want to protect people and protect ourselves. That almost sounds really selfish, protect ourselves, but it's very true. I mean, all four of us, I think, Jake, you've talked about it a lot, how Halloween Kills was ruined for you a little bit. And actually, I had a similar experience. I found out some things unknowingly. And we know that some content creators, I mean, obviously their choice is their choice, but sometimes it may not even be a title that's a spoiler. It might be a thumbnail. And you have so many people that can be in your comments or in your live streams that we're just trying to protect ourselves from spoilers. We really don't want to give away any spoilers. We've got a week left and we just want to have a nice, comfortable ride into watching this movie for Jake and Fate. That'll be on Thursday. And for me and Craven, it'll be Friday. But anything else that you guys wanted to say about that so that people understand why the comments will be off on this video, even though we have the live chat on. As long as you guys are acting right, we'll keep this live chat on. But does anyone else want to say anything about disabling comments from here on out for the next week?
Yeah. I feel that it's important that not just we don't get spoiled, but for you as well. Like we don't want anybody getting spoiled for the new movie. Like we've been, I don't know how long like some of these other guys, like how long you guys have been covering this movie, but like I've been covering it since like mid 2020. This is a really big movie, not only for me but for a lot of my subscribers. I don't want it spoiled. I don't want it spoiled for anybody. That would suck. Yeah. And I even said something in my video today. I was like, I don't know why you would want to go and look up spoilers for a movie where that's such a crucial part to it, especially like the killer reveal, who's the opening kill, different things about what happens to certain characters. Don't get that spoiled for yourself. Don't go and look that up. Just let it happen in the movie theater and just be shocked and surprised by it is what I have to say about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And so that's what we're trying to do. That's the whole reason for it. And by the way, what's going on, Joseph? Young Joseph watching us, Lamar's son. Nice that you guys are doing better. I'm glad. But let's get into some of our predictions for this, because that's something that, and I know for myself, I've gone back and forth on a few different things. There's a couple of things that I've been pretty solid about, but there's so many moving parts. So I thought that it'd be interesting just to kind of go around and just see what we've got, How about this? And we didn't prep this or anything, but let's just throw out a few ideas, and you guys can obviously throw however you want to go with it too. But what about either the first kill or first attack? Who do we think that's going to be? And I'll start with you, Fate. We'll just kind of go around clockwise.
See the first attack, I think, is Tara. Now the first kill, that is the real question. Who's going to be the first kill? Because I'm pretty confident the first attack is either going to be Tara or Francis, which a lot of people apparently was news to a lot of people when I made the video about Francis, which there was an entire announcement about that. Like that wasn't like, I literally had people asking me if I spoiled that. Like I had people in my comments that were like, "Are you leaking this? Is this spoil?" And I was like, there was an entire announcement around this. Like this wasn't new, but yeah. So very likely, let's say Francis and Tara are 1A, 1B. The first kill, like the actual kill, I think is going to be is the real question, because I think that it could be several people. I mean, I think it could be Vince, it could be Dewey, it could be Judy, it could be Wes. If I had to guess, like if I had to like give an answer, definitive answer, I really wouldn't be surprised if Dewey is the first kill. Like actual first kill.
You think Dewey will be the first actual?
Wow.
I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Wow.
Because you got to think about it, like from a logical sense. So we know, based on the trailers and everything we got, we can kind of piece together a little bit of the continuity of the film. So you have Tara as the opening scene, and then it appears that at some point before that, or after that, before Dewey's death, you have Vince's attack, and then you have likely Judy and or Wes collectively or separately, if he's even attacked at all. But it looks like you have Judy. But the most recent image of Dewey and Gail talking, it looks like Judy's in the background being carted onto the ambulance. So if that really is the case, then that means she was attacked. She didn't die, which would mean very likely the next person to be killed is Dewey. When Ghostface shows up to the hospital, Dewey probably is the one. Ghostface shows up to take care of Tara, Judy, maybe Wes, or I guess you could say Wes. And then Vince is the one that I was gonna say next, but Wes is also a possibility too. And then if Ghostface shows up to the hospital, Dewey's there. It all signs point to Dewey being a goner during that hospital scene. So I really think I would not. I would hope personally. I would hope somebody else dies before Dewey, even if it's just Francis as a throwaway in the opening, like the Steve Orth type character that dies, gets thrown away, Tara survives, boom, carries on. But I really, I would not be shocked at all, based on everything we know at this time, that Dewey is the first actual kill.
So. Okay. All right. Well, Steven, What do you think about that? Could Dewey be first? I
Well, I mean, anything's possible, but I don't
True.
think I don't think, I don't think you start. I don't think the first kill in your first movie back is Dewey. Now, it would be shocking, I guess, is one way to do it, but I just no, it would catch us off guard. I think we all agree to that. But I
It
don't.
would.
It would be like a whoa moment. But I
It would. It
honestly think,
also. It would remind me of like in Scream 3 when Cotton got killed right in the first 8 minutes of the movie. I was like, what?
right,
And
that was
obviously
what
Dewey is a
happened.
lot more important than Cotton.
Yes,
Can,
he's a
can
lot
I
more
can,
important.
can I interject one more thing because I just thought of something while you were talking,
Yeah.
Craven, is that so clearly we all are kind of under the same assumption that they are sort of prepping us for Dewey's death. That could be
It
why.
seems.
Yes, yes, yes. I
Yes.
really believe that they are. I really think that they are doing it deliberately. Just because that way there's no shock, there's no like outrage. People don't lose their shit, over him being killed, that kind of thing. I really think they are purposely trying to prep us mentally because, like I said, the entire Randy thing, people weren't upset that Randy died. I think everyone expected Randy to die at some point. It was the way and the manner in which Randy died was the big
Yeah.
outlash.
Yeah.
And I think that that's what they're trying to avoid. They're trying to tell us, like, hey, Dewey's going to die. Here it is. Accept it. Take it in. Here's the movie. Boom. He's dead. Oh, my God. Move on. I think that that's
Yeah.
kind of the case. And
Yeah.
so I think because of that, it's very likely, and this is what I wanted to add, that it's very likely that Dewey is the first kill because we expect it. We know it's coming. We know it's going to happen. You have 3 attacks, and then boom, the first kill. But sorry, I
Yeah.
just didn't mean to interrupt. I just really
Okay.
I needed to get that in because it falls into what you're talking about.
Yeah, no, you're good. All right. So I'm still holding to my theory that he dies much later. I think he dies closer to the middle of the movie because the reason I say that is because just from what we've seen, there's going to be a lot of legwork, I believe, in this movie done by Dewey and the group because we see scenes of, first of all, there has to be the 3 attacks because, and which Dewey calls Sidney about, right? And then we know that Richie and then at that point we know Sam and Richie come to town. So then they meet up with Dewey at his trailer at some point here to say, hey, can you come help us? He says, yes, I do. Then next thing you know, we see he's with, I'm guessing one of their houses, not his trailer because it's a nice big living room. And they're watching stab movies together. And then earlier he's given the rules. And then we have the hospital scene, which I do agree with you that I do think he dies in the hospital. Yep. I 100% am going on that prediction that is where he will die. I think and I don't think he makes it out alive. But I still think that to get to that point, there's a lot of time that's going to pass with the setup of him meeting and talking and going and doing all this other stuff. And then you're still going to have other people getting, I'm guessing, attacked along the way because it's not going to, go 20, 30 minutes, I would hope, without a kill. So my thought is that the first kill will happen somewhere earlier in the movie, and Francis would not be a shock fate. I think that's not a bad idea that Francis maybe is that opening kill like Stephen Orth, because really it was Stephen and Casey. We just think about Casey all the time,
Right.
But it was really a duo, and so
Yeah.
it would not be shocking to see how Francis is the Stephen Orth. I think you said it earlier, and then Casey is Tara, and that's now Tara lives though she doesn't die. That's the one difference. However, I think that they're going to save Dewey a little bit of time. So the only way I see him dying first is if we're talking about 30, 40 minutes without a kill, and I just don't think that is going to be the case in a Scream film. So my prediction is going to stay the same. I think Dewey dies in the middle of the movie, and I think the first kill, Vince is looking like a decent shot too. We don't know how long he's going to be in the movie. So I could easily see that when he comes out of that scene in the arcade with what we got recently where he's, pointing at Chad. I think that when he goes outside, he's wearing those same clothes. So we know that's when the attack happens. So that could be the first kill. It could be Vince early in the movie. But I like the Francis idea. I think that makes a lot of sense.
I think it does too. Also, my thing is that though too, is that it looks like, and again, we're going off of very minimal information,
Yes.
really. We're going off of like small little details,
Right.
but it looks like they're going for more brutality and these like over the top attacks rather than just kills. So I really wouldn't be shocked if we go 30, 40 minutes without an actual kill. And they just really like they just have these just brutal. I mean, Tara's attack looks absolutely brutal. I mean,
It
she's
does.
getting her leg stomped out. I mean, she's just getting decimated. Vince, same thing. There was a recent trailer where you see Vince crawling on the ground. It looks like half his face is missing. It's just all bloody and cut up and
it's all
stuff like
messed
that.
up.
And
Yeah.
he's crawling, like begging
Right.
for life and stuff. I think that that's what they're going for. I think that they're going for just the brutality of Ghostface. Ghostface sending a message. Ghostface is just this ruthless, like, cry. Go ahead. See what happens, type thing. And I really think they're going for the brutality rather than the kills. So I really wouldn't be shocked if we go 40 minutes without an actual kill and Dewey being the first kill. Like I said, I like this is just a guess. If I'm being completely honest, I don't think Dewey's going to be the first kill. I really don't. I don't think
I don't think
go
so
that
either.
route.
No.
I think that would be a poor choice.
Yes, but I really think that they could make an argument for it. Because if you just have these brutal, over the top scenes, I don't think anyone's going to really care. They're going to be so shocked by what they saw, it's irrelevant. So then you have Dewey being the opening kill. It might not even really register with people, with audiences, stuff like that. But that's kind of the thing. I like to make an argument for Dewey being the first kill since I threw it out there. I really think that that's a possibility. But if I'm being honest with myself and the audience, I don't think they'll go that route. But I really wouldn't be shocked. I really wouldn't.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, Jake, what do you think, buddy? I want to hear. What are your thoughts on the opening kill, man?
So, okay. First of all, we know that the opening scene is going to be 11 minutes, then the title card pops up because of that picture that dropped maybe like last August, I want to say. So I don't know if they could fit all of that into an opening scene, especially because I believe almost all of the other opening scenes are about that same length or even like maybe a few seconds longer. So I don't think that they could fit like a Francis kill, Jenna Ortega going to the hospital and then killing Dewey all in 11 minutes. That would be like, the pacing on that would probably be awful. But I think Dewey makes it a little while into the film. I'm still iffy about his death or not. I don't know if the marketing team is trying to make us think that or not, and for like a for a hero's death, because like I've been saying that on my channel a lot. I'm like, it looks like they're gonna give him like a very heroic death where it's like his life is kind of in shambles. He's lost Gail, he's lost his home, he lives in an RV now, and they're setting him up to be like this big hero who sacrifices everything to save everybody else. I don't know if that's supposed to be purposeful, if the marketing team wants us to think that, if it's all just misdirection, who knows. But I definitely think that Tara is probably going to survive the opening scene. Francis is going to die all in that first couple of minutes there. I also like, I talked about this a little bit before because I had a few people specifically comment on my videos and they're like, oh, so Dewey says there's 3 attacks, so technically there's not going to be any kills. And I'm like, no, that's not what that means. People getting attacked could mean result in death. But it also could mean that maybe he's not going to say specifically, oh, 2 people have died and Jenna Ortega's character is alive in the hospital. Like Dewey would say that naturally in conversation.
Sorry.
Oh, you're good.
I'm trying to copy you, Jake.
Oh, dang.
God.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my. That's a funny thing. That's my niece's ringtone. She's gonna love the fact that she's got on the live stream.
See, that's a plug.
Oh,
She's gonna absolutely love that. Yeah.
We charge $500 for that. So she owes the collective.
She's the silent majority of the collective. All right. Good for her.
So Knight, bro, I gotta say something. Jake, you touched on this, and Knight, I know you are all about this.
Look,
and I will say this before you start. Let me just throw one thing out, and then it's all you, buddy. If if you guys are right, you're talking about Jake, you and Knight, if you guys are both right, and this is a complete ripping out the carpet from underneath our feet, Dewey survives the whole movie, and Gail dies, I'm going to be like, this was fantastic marketing because I am completely hook, line, sinker that Dewey's dead. So, Knight, I just had to say, Jake mentioned that, and I said, dude, I think it would be a shock to me if that
Yeah,
happens, which I'd be okay with a shock like that.
yeah. I mean, the only thing I'm saying, of course, the smart money. Okay, the smart money says that everything's pointing to his death. Story wise, you can think of so many reasons why it would lead to that. As far as like you were saying, Jake, the hero's death, he's down and out. It would be a great way for him to go out because at some point, these characters, one way or the other, are going to go out. We're assuming that we're going to get more Scream movies. And I get all that. I totally agree with that. And again, smart money says Dewey's going to die. But I just keep getting from the very beginning. I kept getting this feeling is like I think we're being trolled. I think it's a big misdirect, and I could be wrong. I could totally be wrong. But if he survives, just like if Stu comes back
Oh,
and Craven's gonna have a block party on YouTube,
you better
I'm
believe
gonna
it.
be having I'm gonna be having one too if Dewey survives. But
Yes.
but no, all seriousness though, I do agree. I think that Francis will be killed. That'll be just a quick little boom, just like a Steve moment. Um,
Yes.
but Jenna's gonna survive that attack. Something tells me that that's just how it's that's how it's gonna happen. Um, and I also want to say, so some people may be saying, well, okay, if Dewey survives, what's going to happen to the other two of the three? I've said from the beginning, I just had this feeling that instead of Dewey, it's going to be Gale. That's going to die. And again, the smart money doesn't say that will happen, but that's just the vibe I've gotten. From the trailer, from these little spots, from some of the shots, the scenes. I mean, they're all so like anyone, even a person who's not a fan of Scream, you know, could look at things and say, wow, Dewey's going to die. It does not take any type of intelligence to put that together. And to me, that would be such a giveaway. It's like, I just wouldn't think that it would be easily given like that, especially for one of the OG three. Any other characters, fine, because we don't know them anyways. I mean, we know them from what we gather, but we haven't seen them in the movie yet. But for one of the OG three, I mean, you have at least what four or five different scenes that point towards his death. Most notably
Yeah.
in the hospital, and also when you
Yeah.
see Gail, her screaming and stuff. Who's she gonna do that for? Well, it's gonna be Dewey, of course. Like anybody could guess that. Again, smart money says that is what's going to happen, but I would just be very surprised if it plays out that easily.
Well,
So, anyways,
Knight, I want to throw something else that's more evidence well, that makes you look like Dewey's dead. I didn't think mention this earlier, but not only the hospital scenes, but one of the most recent TV little ad spots they did. There's a scene where, and I may have mentioned it before, but I think it's worth mentioning that
hmm
Gail has a gun, and she is
yes,
shooting this gun, and if you look at it, she is shooting a revolver, and
yes,
the two guns that Sidney brings to Stu's house, in her case, are semi-automatic pistols. They're the clip in the handle guns.
hmm
The gun that Gale is shooting someone with is a
a
revolver where the bullets
revolver.
go in the circle there and you load them in, which
hmm
is the same gun that Dewey has when he
Yeah,
pulls it out of his thing and you see him in the hospital. That's in the brown case. That is the same gun Dewey uses. And it's very rare to find cops today using revolvers. Some do and
hmm
most don't. So
yeah,
I bring this point up as I'm like, oh my gosh. When I saw Gale shooting someone with a revolver, I said, that's Dewey's gun. That
yeah,
when I saw that scene, that solidified in my mind that Dewey was dead. I think that she's shooting his killer with his
yeah,
own gun, which is very poetic. So
yeah,
I just
and it
wanted to
does
throw
make
that out
sense.
there. But again, it's marketing. Do we trust it? I don't know. But if we trust it, there's something to that because that's not Sidney's guns. That's
hmm
Dewey's revolver.
Yeah,
I
Just a
think
thought.
I think something that Knight said that this is the OG3. I think that that's why they are making it so obvious, though, because I mean,
Could be.
you don't need to make it obvious if it's anybody else. But the fact that it's the OG3, I really think, because here's the thing: if it was Wes Craven, he wouldn't have to do that. It wouldn't matter, because if he kills any of the characters, nobody's going to say anything because it's Wes Craven. You know, they might, of course, they're going to have that
disappointed.
Gripe. Yeah, they're going to be disappointed. They're going to be upset, but nobody's going to be rioting over Wes Craven killing
it's Wes Craven,
right?
One of the OG3, because I mean, he built the character.
Those are his people. Yes.
So I mean, if he decides to kill one of them, okay, like that was his decision.
Hey,
these aren't Wes Craven. So I think that they have to throw it out there and let us know. That's why I kind of think Gail is likely to survive, because there hasn't really been, outside of one real scene that looks like Gail's dying. And I mean, it's a pretty compelling scene. That image, where she's like, I remember that. Over. I mean, she literally looks like she's dying.
She looks devastated, man. She looks
outside of that, there's not really much suggesting that she's going to bite it. And so I think that's why I think Dewey is a goner. And in the same breath, it could be like the Gail thing could be the surprise, the shock.
Right.
Kill at the end.
Yep.
She gets her revenge. She, kills the killer. And as that's like her sort of dying moment. She gets shot, she gets stabbed, whatever, picks up the gun, boom. And then,
shoots him.
And then she sits back down to kind of like just die and contemplate, like, I did it. I avenged you, Dewey. Here I come, type thing. And it's an emotional moment, which producers said this movie is going to be very emotional. They said that was one of the first interviews they ever did. They really were trying to hit home. Courtney said the exact same thing in one of her first interviews, that this is a very emotional, very hard-hitting film for people that are fans of the franchise. And I can see that. You have that end moment. It's going to be emotional watching Dewey die. It's going to be emotional watching Gail kill the killer to avenge Dewey. And it's going to be even more emotional watching Gail die as she finished doing her thing. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying that she's definitely going to die. Like, I still think
we're down to Sidney surviving. That's all we got now.
But that's the thing. But that's why I'm so adamant, or not. I shouldn't say adamant, but that's why I'm so inclined to believe that Dewey and Gail die, because Sidney has kids now, and I think that that's going to be her send off. I think she's going to survive. Maybe there's a moment where it's kind of like, like, is she dead? Is she alive? That kind of thing. Yeah. We might get that moment, but I think ultimately she survives. And what's going to happen is she's going to get her happy ending. She's going to get to be the mother that she never had. She's going to get to have the family that she never really had. She's going to get to have all the things that she always yearned for and always wanted, but never really had. And she's going to get, and that's going to be her send off. I think the fact that they introduce children to Sidney Prescott is extremely telling. I think it tells that she's not going to die. I think it tells that that's going to be her send off. And I even think it tells that she's not going to have a kid come out of the woodworks. That's another thing that I hear people time and time again in my comments that are like, well, what about Billy and Sidney having a kid? And for a very long time, I really thought that was a huge possibility. I really did. I thought that was a huge thing until they introduced her children. As soon as they introduced her children, I was like, I don't think they're going to go that morbid. I don't think they're going to go that dark. Like that.
I don't know, Jake. What do you think, Jake? This is ready or not?
They're already going more. I mean, you got to think Sam alone is a very cautious territory. That could go, if they go too much into the Sam's mental health, that could be a disaster for them.
Well, and I've said
not
that
from
too.
us.
No, but I've said that in videos before too. Like, I don't think that if they make Sam the killer and her motive is she's crazy because of her mental illness, dude, I would be so mad. That would be the dumbest thing ever. And it's something that it's one of my big criticisms about a lot of other horror movies, especially from the 80s, that didn't care to think about that sort of thing or villainize mental illness, which sucks in my opinion. I don't think that's a fair thing to justify for a killer to have.
Just ask the dude in Halloween Kills, man, from the hospital.
Yeah, sure.
Right?
Oh,
Yeah,
dang.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. I don't
Yep.
I don't think they're gonna go take it that way, but I definitely think that this film is going to be maybe the darkest Scream we've ever seen yet, for sure. But at the same time, I could see them killing off Dewey. I feel like that wouldn't make the fan base go absolutely banana sandwich, but maybe killing off Dewey and Gale at the same time,
man,
that could cause
that's-
some controversy. And considering
Yeah.
now, mind you, I have not read any reviews. I'm staying off of social media, but I have
Right.
heard that there are overwhelmingly positive reviews for the film so far. I've not, like I said, have not read anything. Don't want to get spoiled. So considering how like overwhelmingly positive the reviews are for this film, I don't think they're going to do anything so risky. More that they're going to just pump out a great film to start off what they want to make a trilogy. If they decide to do something risky in the future, they have something in mind. They're going to set it up in this film and maybe do it in a potential Scream 6, Scream 7. That's how I
Yeah.
feel about it. I don't think, like, yeah, this film's going to take risks. It's going to be a change in tone for sure. But I don't think they're going to do something as drastic as that. I guess
Yeah,
is what
but
I'm
Jake,
saying.
you don't think that that's like poetic? You know what I mean? Like, because that's usually the thing, that the
two
Romeo and
lovers,
Juliet type
yeah.
thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Dewey and Gale meet their end. Gale, last heroic moment before her demise.
I do, but I just don't think the film would have as overwhelmingly positive reviews if that was the case. If you catch my drift, because I think some, like, personally, I wouldn't be
Unless
so
people
bugged by
expect
that.
it.
I would, like, I'll be honest, that wouldn't bug me too much. If they killed Sidney, different story. But if they killed Gale and Dewey, I'd be like, okay, whatever. But some people love Gale Weathers. Some people
Yeah.
love Dewey,
Right.
like to
Yeah.
the point where they're like, these guys cannot die or I will lose all interest in the franchise. I've seen a plethora of comments come about all three of the characters, the OG characters. So that's kind of how I feel about it. I don't know. I could see them killing one of them off. I mean, I think Judy's a goner personally. I think me and Steven talked about this on the live stream a couple nights ago. We were saying, like, the best compromise Radio Silence could have with the Scream audience to kill off a main character like that would be to kill Judy, because she's not technically an OG3 character, but she is coming back from Scream 4. She's coming back from another movie where I don't think it would be as drastic to kill her as it would be to kill someone like Dewey or Gale. But I don't know. I still am on the fence about Dewey dying in this film, so that could still happen. That could definitely still happen. I got my money on Judy's biting the dust in this film, though, for sure. So
Who made a good point is when we were doing the podcast now thing, Ryan, where he said, like, imagine the impact of the sheriff and the old sheriff dying, and now there's this chaos. That was actually a really good point. Like, that impact of Judy and Dewey dying. You have the old sheriff and the new sheriff dying. So now it's these, like, essentially, like, relatively rookie deputies to try to solve this. And then he also made the point, like, that's why Gail and Sidney had to. I was going to say Dewey. Gail and Sidney had to step in and and sort of take out Ghostface. That's why they were so, like,
Team
adamant about, like, we have to go out of Ghostface. And I really thought that was an excellent point, because it's true. Like, if Judy and Dewey die, like, who's really left that has experience, for one, and is in a position of power to really go about what they need to go about in order. Now it's essentially the Wild West. So Sidney and Gail are that Wild West aspect.
Well, and one more thing I want to add to that, and then I'm sorry, I'll pass the torch. But another thing is that if the new Ghostface killer kills the chief of police, that is going to send a message to the police department.
Absolutely.
They're going to be like, okay, we gotta step up our game here. They're Dewey. They're gonna have to recruit Dewey back to save the day and all that. I think that would be the way to do that, because it would be just so much more impactful to kill specifically Judy off first, and then maybe we also have two more cop characters. I can't remember their names for the life of me offhand right now, but those two are also in the film, and I'm assuming they're probably going to get murdered as well. As we if we look back at the history of other Scream films,
they have to.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Shout out to Anthony Anderson.
So I think this is a good question for everybody. So what do you make out of that image? Do you think it's Judy being loaded into the ambulance, because it really does look like her outfit. It really looks like the purple
Yeah.
jumpsuit being loaded in.
It
And
could
here's the
be.
thing, it's not, there's not a white cloth. I mean, it's somebody clearly sitting up
Yes. They're
and
sitting up.
in
Yeah.
in a purple jumpsuit. That doesn't mean that Judy can't, like, if it is, let's say it is Judy and she is being loaded in the ambulance and she lives. Like, that doesn't mean she can't die later in the hospital. That doesn't mean
Right.
Ghostface
Right.
doesn't get to her later on. But
Yeah.
like, what is everybody's consensus on that? Like, because I
Yeah.
think that just, I've zoomed in, I've zoomed out, I've done all that stuff. Like, it really, I mean, granted, it's hard because it's such a
Yes.
distance.
It's
I mean, you
very-
can even make the argument that nobody's in the thing, and it's just
Right.
the gurney
treasure.
itself.
Mhm.
But it does. It really, in my opinion, it really does look like Judy is in that gurney being dragged into the ambulance. But what do you think, Knight?
It does look like it is her being dragged. And I mean, again, like you said, it's so hard to tell. The other thing I'm thinking though is that it could be a misdirect, but I was about to say, why wouldn't it be her? Like, we think of it, maybe
Yeah.
it's nothing, it's just a gurney, you know what I mean? But I do think it is her. Everything that we've seen from the spots in the trailer suggests she's gonna have that confrontation, and either die, or what I'm hoping for is that she survives it at least for a little while. Now, like you said, maybe she survives the attack. Maybe she's one of those 3 attacks, survives it, and then later on gets killed. Just as and Steven, you know this. I'm a Judy fan because she was just so damn creepy in 4. So
Yes.
I love Marley Shelton anyway. So if it was up to me, if I had my way, she'd be in the movie as long as she possibly can, because it's also that bridge back to 4, and also other than the OG 3, someone from the previous movies and stuff like that. But I do think that is her on the gurney. I do.
What about you,
Yeah.
Jake? What do you think?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think for sure she's a goner, so like I could definitely see that being the case. I pretty much agree with Knight too. Like I like Judy. I think she's a good character. Her lemon squares might taste like ass, but I think she
I
adds
still
a
love
lot
those
to.
scenes.
Oh yeah. Oh, the stuff with her and Gail and Scream 4 is hilarious, man.
Oh,
I
my
love it.
God.
Yeah, but I agree. I like her. She adds a lot to Scream 4, I think, personally, and I would like to see her have a little bit of screen time in this one before her inevitable death. But yeah. Stephen Wood, how do you feel about Judy?
Yeah, I mean, I saw in fact, I just looked at the picture again now, pulled it up. And man, it's so hard to definitively say. I was looking at it now, I was zooming in, zooming out, and it does look like there's somebody on there. It does look like there's somebody on there. You could almost even say, looking at, you almost can see the yellowish blonde hair almost if you look at it, at a certain magnification. So my thought on it is this: I've always felt she was going to either die or be the mastermind. I've always felt kind of strongly leaning that way, and I've bounced around a ton of different ideas, but in my head of who I think it might be or what will happen to her. Mm-hmm. And when you look at those scenes of her being attacked, and I just posted the video today on Judy, as a matter of fact, and breaking down all the scenes from the different ads and put them all together in like a little timeline I created. And basically, it looks like she's gonna die. I mean, when you see the ghost face with the knife over her and she's on the ground, and
Right.
and you see her hair, it's her. It's not Wes, because Wes has shorter hair. So
Right.
we know one thing for sure: she gets stabbed. I mean, I can guarantee you that, in her yard. So it's just a matter of whether she lives or not from that scene, which is what we're talking about. So I'm going to still say it's 50-50, but I will tell you this: if she does live, and yeah, there she is walking out. Now, see, that's the only scene where she's happy. The rest of the scenes we have, she's very scared and nervous. And that's the
Right.
only one where she's like, okay, life is still good.
I know, poor
but-
For
Judy,
now.
man.
For now.
Yeah, for now.
And literally. And seriously, that's the same outfit she's in when all the attacks happen. There you go. Same clothes. So it's literally, here's why I said it's going to happen. That picture you just showed, Night, where she's leaving and she's like, oh, it's a happy day. That picture there is when she gets into her cruiser and she's going to the gym, and that's when Ghostface calls and we see her screaming there. There you go. She's wearing the same lavender coat, or not coat, but lavender top there.
Top.
And the little top. And, she's being told Wes is going to get killed if you don't get to the house. That's what I'm guessing. And then every scene from that point forward and all the ads we've gotten have been her with that knife in her hand. And so anyway, yep. And then later on we see her on the ground because we know it's her hair, like I just said. So I've always felt she was going to die in that scene. But now that this darn ambulance picture's there, and I'm like, oh, come on, man. I just kind of settled that she was a dead meat like Jake. And now I'm thinking to myself, well, is she? And if she's not, what implications is that, guys? And I think it's great. It's going to keep me thinking like, well, I was sus of you in 4 with your crazy eyes and your lemon squares. And if you're on that gurney alive, I'm sus of you again. But this time to be the mastermind. Look at that. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Look at those eyes.
Two things.
Come on
Two
now.
things. One, would they really kill Wendy Peppercorn? Like, really? Are they really going to kill her? Is that what they're going to do? The second thing that I want to talk about, if you get it, you get it. We get it. But let us know in the chat if you get it. But the other thing is that, like, I get this question a lot, and I want to extend it to you all because I've sort of explained my thoughts on it, and I'll touch on it briefly here. But why do you think she has a knife instead of a gun? I think she's coming back from she's coming back from the gym. She very likely doesn't have her gat on her. It's a small town. She's probably nothing probably ever happens there. So she probably, just has her gat upstairs in her bed under her pillow, ready for, things to pop off. And she just walks into the house because, things are getting real, and she grabs the first thing available to her. But Craven, what do you think? What do you make out of that?
That is a great question. And even in the video I posted, I said, for some reason, we don't know yet why she does not have her gun, because that's the first thing you think of. Like, why do you not have your pistol in your hand? And so there has to be something that either it was not accessible, like the surgeon situation was so urgent that she couldn't go upstairs, right? She had to get in there, and she's looking for Wes. And or I mean, honestly, there's really no other thing I can think of other than it had to be inaccessible some reason. And maybe to your point, Fate, it was it was upstairs. It was in the gun case upstairs in her bedroom, and she's in the mode of where's my son? I have to find him now. So she grabs the nearest weapon she can, which is the kitchen knife, not a butcher knife. It's the kitchen, it's chef's knife. Excuse me, chef's knife, not the butcher knife. Get that correct. And so. That's what I think it is. I mean, I can't think of any other reason why a police officer, especially, would not have a handgun, very, very, right on your person. But it is a small town, like you said, Fate. And let's face it, it's been 10 years since the Woodsboro massacre with Jill and
But that's what I'm saying,
Charlie.
There's probably
it's been a long
nothing
time.
ever happens there.
Exactly.
It's a small town of Woodsboro. So she probably just has it upstairs, like you said, in her safe. Like, hey, I'm going to the gym. Let me lock this up.
Right.
It's safe. Nothing's gonna happen. I'm probably not even gonna get a call in the next 2 hours, and then boom. But yeah.
Can I say something real quick? I have to just and I'm looking at the chat here putting up, and it got me thinking. And I know we're recycling just a tad here because I think we might have even touched on it a little bit earlier, but we moved quickly earlier. But I just have to say, just for fun and giggles, what if the movie Scream starts off, and you see Judy Hicks upstairs coming out of her bedroom in her house with her workout clothes on, and she's going outside, and she's like, has a note on the fridge from Wes, hey, I'm going to be at blah, 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 or something. So she goes to her, there she goes. She leaves, and she's heading to the gym, and then she gets the phone call, and it's Ghostface. What if, and she goes home, long story short, she's killed in the opening. She is killed right there in her front yard, and we get the Scream title card.
Oh, wow.
Could you imagine if it was a Cotton Weary, if they pulled a Cotton Weary with Judy Hicks?
If it wasn't for the Judy and Dewey still that we got from the ET, I would think it's a possibility. But because of that, we now know Judy is later in the film because there's literally a scene in the movie now.
There is.
Based
I
on
remember
that, where they're in Judy's office.
They're in her office.
If it wasn't for that, I would say that really could be a possibility. But I think that completely rules it out.
Unless that is
Unless
a
she gets attacked.
Yes, and then
Okay.
that's the opening attack, and she survives from it.
Survives.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then at that point, it's like, why not just do the Tara thing? You know, if you're not going to kill her, like, why not just do the Tara? You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of my thing.
I'm kind of dead set on the Tara being the opening kill just because of how she's like acting. Like, there's that one still of her looking exacally like Drew Barrymore from the first Scream. She's
she even said she studied Drew's lines. She told Drew herself,
Right.
like, I studied, and everyone was like, what does that mean? But yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Jake.
No, that's exactly, I was literally going to bring that up. I mean, she's, it's... Yeah, that's fine. But, you know, whatever. Take my thunder. But no, I'm just kidding.
Now, boys.
Come on, children. I know, right? Knight. Hey, Knight, what do you think, Knight? You didn't know. Let's
just completely skip Jake.
Let me just skip Jake. No, I'm kidding.
My opinion is trash. Who cares?
Oh, Jake, I'm teasing. I had to do it, man. I just had to. I'm sorry. I'm joking. I'm
like,
totally joking.
Whatever.
No,
Jeez,
come on.
man.
We kicked you out of the last episode.
Come on now.
Yeah, first you kicked me out last time. I started worshiping.
We didn't even talk about that. We didn't even say, "Hey, welcome back." You know,
that's true. Dude.
Well, it's like I said. I literally told people that were asking about it, because I get a lot of people asking about that, and I told people, if you pay attention, we're like Scream, because if we had a live stream after that, technically, because in the video where Jake gets kicked out, we say in the first like 30 seconds that this is pre-recorded weeks ahead of time, that we are on day 2 of the 12 days of whatever. So and then we had, before that got posted, or 2 weeks before that got posted, we had a live stream with Jake on it. So if people are paying attention, they would have known that Jake wasn't kicked out yet.
And the mystery.
He said yet. Did he say yet?
Yes, yeah.
I caught that.
Talking about things that are inevitable, right?
Oh, come on. No. All right, Jake, I speak for everyone now. Jake, you have the floor.
Oh,
dude, I had a comment that was like,
I get to talk now. Cool.
I got a comment that was like, I hate everybody except for Jake, so I'm glad he's still here. Something like that.
I know.
So I was like,
I'm just kidding.
Jake, you were getting a lot of love.
I'm glad you're delusional, but
no, I appreciate
the comment.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is that Jake I added to the table? But no, for the opening kill, for the opening scene, I think the big cool thing and the big thing that they're talking about misdirection wise, like in that little interview with the Scream, not the Scream guys, the Radio Silence dudes, I think the big misdirection of the trailer is the fact that Tara is going to live and be a crucial part to the plot line throughout, and it's going to be cool because it's the first time an opening kill hasn't resulted in a kill. I mean, I think for sure we could see Francis be the Steve kill, for sure. But I think it would be interesting to see Jenna Ortega's character play an important vital role throughout the rest of the film, trying to like identify who Ghostface is or something. Maybe she has some kind of information based off of the attack. That would be cool. I'd be down to see that for sure.
Absolutely.
That's
Well,
all I
here,
That's all I needed to get out there.
That's all I needed, guys.
Okay, it's good. It's good. Okay, so all right. Well, let me throw this out here too, guys. So let's talk about, because all of us have had a lot of different theories about Ghostface. Who is Ghostface? Or multiple. Steven's like, no. All right. So how about we just go around and give our thoughts? I know this is a tricky one, but just, this will be fun. Who do we think is Ghostface, or the persons that are Ghostface? And Jake, I'm going to start with you. I'm going to go around the opposite way. So you get to talk again, buddy.
Let's go. Okay. I have been I've been hell bent on trying to convince people that Richie is the killer recently, but I'm starting to think otherwise now. I'm with this whole thing about, this is Radio Silence. These guys are different filmmakers. They want to do something that's really scary, really dark, and completely different. I think I had that whole theory about how Sam is going to get gaslit into thinking that Richie is the killer. And then she kills him, the real ghost faces come out and reveal themselves. And I do think it's going to be multiple people. I mean, Kevin Williamson, even I believe it was him who had that quote about the main killer in this movie is going to have a different mask from the other ghost face killers, inadvertently kind of revealing the fact that, yeah, there's multiple ghost faces, which you kind of wanted to keep a mystery. But I also think this film doesn't care. I think this film knows you're expecting 2 killers, and it's going to have multiple killers in the same scene. Me and Steven were talking about this on our live stream the other day. We were saying that the scene with Chad where he's like in front of the shed and stuff, there's going to be, we're thinking there's going to be 2 ghost faces coming out for the first time in Scream history, murdering somebody at the same time. And there's a few reasons we think that. And I'm sorry, this is going to my killer review. I swear this is all leading up to that. But a big reason why we think that this is a crucial scene to have 2 Ghostface killers is Chad is probably one of the harder targets to take down. He's an athlete. He probably works out like every single day. He could defend himself from one Ghostface killer, especially considering that our suspects here are just other high schoolers for the most part. So I think that if I was part of this Ghostface group and like I'm with another person, I'm like, okay, we got to kill Chad now. Okay, we should do this at the same time because he's like a buff dude. He could take me out. I'm just a scrawny little kid basically compared to Chad. He could kick my ass. So I think for sure that it's going to be 2 Ghostface killers, and I really am. I'm set on Sonia Amar, Liv McKenzie being the killer in this film. I don't know who the second killer is, but I'm really set on her. For sure, that's kind of like my one thing that I feel confident on, because especially because of the Brazil Comic-Con panel with her. I don't know if you guys saw that or not, but she answers a question about like who the killer could be, and she's like, "Oh, I don't know. I mean, I'm not allowed to say," and winks at the camera, dude. That would be the funniest thing to go back to if she was the killer and be like, "Oh my God, it's right there. It was right there in front of our faces the whole time." And I feel like whatever the reveal is going to have that same effect. It's like, "Oh my, it was right there. Oh, we missed it." You know, I'm set on that. I think she is definitely going to be at least one of the killers in the film. Steven, what do you think, man?
Okay, well, I absolutely agree. I think Liv is going to be one. I have thought a lot about this for a long time, and I'm just going to have to stick with something, right? We have to make a pick and stick. So I think what you said makes a lot of sense. I think that she is, and even in the scenes you see her in, man, she looks like she could be a manipulative type person. I'm just telling you. I mean, all the scenes, I could see her right there, just like saying something like, "Okay, now you need to go kill him." I mean, like it'd be the next thing out of her mouth. So I do think Liv is involved. Now, why is she involved? I don't know. I'm not going to try to figure that out. But I think that she is either. I don't know that she's a mastermind, but I think she's involved. But she could be if they don't do a mastermind, if they do like a Billy Stu type of deal where we didn't know about Roman. So if it's the same kind of thing here, then I could see her being the manipulator. Like she could be the Billy, and that she could recruit someone else. And I've said from the beginning I've wanted Wes to survive and go on, but I will say this. He's named after Wes Craven. So what if it is Liv who recruits Wes, or it could be vice versa. Either way, and those 2 are the killers that we see revealed at the very end. And perhaps one of them is a fake out death in the finale, like we saw with Billy, because Liv, I think the rumor, I think we all agree, Liv lives in Stu's house. That seems to be the consensus, that she lives there. So what if she lives there and but more than just lives there, she wants to be, recreate what happened there. If she's a psychotic or psychopath, I mean, this could be very rational for her. So I'm gonna go on a limb and say this. I think I'm gonna take more of the least popular views, and I'm gonna say Wes and Liv are the killers, and I think that there could be a mastermind. And if it is one, I think Judy Hicks would be a great mastermind. But I'm gonna go with Liv and Wes for now. First time I've said that anywhere. I never said it on my channel yet. So there you go.
Okay. All right. Hot take. All right, Fate. What do you got?
So, I one thing I want to start off is kind of like what Jake was saying, that I don't think they care so much about, because everyone's consensus seems to be, at least in my comment section and my subscribers, stuff like that it's Amber and Richie. And
Right.
I don't think that they care so much about people knowing. And I'm not saying that it is Amber or Richie. I'm just saying I don't think it's about that. I think it's about the overall story, the twist, so on and so forth. Because I've made this point before, is that, you know, Billy was so blatantly obvious.
Right.
It was ridiculous. But it didn't matter because the story and execution was so well done. We didn't care. It was irrelevant. And I think that that's what they're going for. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was Richie and Amber, like many people believe. And I know a lot of people, because I hear people in the comments all the time. They're like, "Oh, well, you know, it seems so obvious. It seems so obvious." And I'm like, yes, I mean, you could make an argument that every character seems obvious at this point. I mean, based on all the trailers, everything. But I don't think they care about it being obvious. I think they care more about the execution and delivery on the point that they're trying to get across. Whatever that case may be, obviously that's the job of the film. The other thing, my second point that I really wanted to hit on before I give my actual thing, is I think Chad and Liv would make for the best Ghostface aesthetically, based on what we know. I mean, Chad is just so physically dominant compared to all the other actors and actresses in this film. Mason, I should say. But like, and then Liv just seems like she's off. Like there's something not all the way there. And just from a pure like the reason I loved Mickey, I love the idea of Chad and Liv being the Ghostface. But to kind of lock in my answer, I gotta be consistent. I've said my third video I ever made, I said Judy is involved, and I've said it time and time again. I think it makes too much sense, and so I gotta stick with it. I stick to my guns. I could make arguments for pretty much anybody at this point, but I just really do. I think Judy has some involvement. That doesn't mean that she doesn't die. And this was an argument that I made recently in one of my videos, and even in a live stream. I was saying, Judy's a liability. If you really think about it, say me and Jake are Ghostface, right? And Judy is our mastermind. Like, if push comes to shove, who are they going to believe? The sheriff of the town or me and Jake? So she becomes a liability. So if I don't need her anymore, and she kind of got me set up and in a position to where I'm able to enact my motive, then what do I need her for? Why not kill her? And not saying that she doesn't die. And if she is attacked and lives, to me, that makes even more of an argument that she's Ghostface, in my opinion. I think that
I agree with that too.
I think that really sort of like, if she is attacked at her front porch in broad dead daylight. Sorry, I was gonna. I tried to stop. I was about to do a Jake.
He's gonna get you.
No, Jake literally gets comments from people talking about that.
Tyler called me the other day and I was like, dude, I get comments from people who are like, I just wish you would stop swearing in your videos. And I do updates on horror movies where people viciously die. Like, so that doesn't offend you, but if I say like the F word, that does? What? Like, I don't understand. I don't get that.
But no, I was in a more PC manner. I'm glad I stopped myself, but not that it's a huge deal, but I try to be professional here. We're professionals.
So I'm not professional.
Hey, you made that assessment yourself.
Great.
Oh, okay.
You took that yourself. That was your own doing. But I think that it really makes a very obvious Judy Hicks. All signs point to it. Then, if it's Judy, immediately the next suspect would be Wes. You would imagine that Wes would be the next involvement. But I really like the idea of him just being completely in the dark. I think it would really add some more, gravitas to the entire the entire situation if Judy was involved and Wes was just completely oblivious. He had no idea. I think that would really hit home. But
Mhm.
Most likely, if Judy's involved, you can. Wes is likely involved, and then I'm pretty confident there's another killer. I don't think Judy's Ghostface, and that's the
Yeah.
thing that I need to stress to people. And I've been stressing on my channel a lot lately too, because people are like, "Oh, well, you think Judy's Ghostface?" No, I don't think Judy's going to be Ghostface. I don't think she's the person
Yeah.
putting on the mask, running around killing people. I think she's the only person that has a connection to 96 and a direct tie to now. And
Right.
I think that she doesn't need to put on the mask because she's always had the knowledge and been in the know of everything. So I think that she is likely the mastermind. And what better position to be in than the sheriff?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Totally.
and I even
Yeah.
had somebody, suggest like, well, then like why if why wouldn't she rat them out if they attack her? What is she gonna say? If she knows who the ghost face is, she immediately
Right.
becomes a suspect. So
Yeah.
she's kind of in a position of where like she can't really say anything. Like, what is she to say? Like,
Mhm.
she's attacked, she survives. Like, she can't just go to Dewey and say, "Hey, these two people are the killer," because Dewey's gonna be like, "How do you know that? Like, where
Yeah.
did that come from?"
Yeah.
So that's my thing. I'm locking in my answer for Judy.
Okay.
Then after that,
Nice.
I say take your pick. But I think there's at least three involved. I think it's Judy as the mastermind, and then the two killers. Just for argument's sake, I got to really do an analysis, do a video. But just for this situation, I will say Judy as the mastermind, Wes, and then I'm gonna say Liv.
So
Okay.
we are
Judy,
really
Wes,
much
and Liv. All
aligned.
right.
Yeah. That's very much.
Well, so for me and Stephen, we talked about this whatever it was like a month and a half ago when we were specifically talking about Scream 4, and I've been on the Judy train, since
Hmm.
I first saw that movie, and I had just been waiting for something in that movie, and it would be such a nice callback to really pay that off. So I agree. I think Judy has some knowledge of what's going on, or either as a mastermind. She has
Yeah.
something and she's involved with it somehow. And I think not only would
Hmm.
that be the payoff and the bridge, to the past, but it would make sense because she
Hmm.
has she has all the wherewithal to have the connections, and
Yep.
so forth. She's the connection to the past, with
Hmm.
everyone, with Sydney, with Dewey, and with Woodsboro. So I definitely think that's possible, but I don't think, and this might just be because of the whole Wes thing. For some reason, I don't think Wes is involved.
Okay.
I think, I think that he's just going to be, a character. He might be one of the final people, like a final guy. I'm not too sure on that, but for some reason, I just don't think he would be part of it. I don't think he'd be a Ghostface killer.
Mm.
I also think that there'll be two Ghostface killers, and we've talked about that in the past
Hmm.
too. Now, again, just like you guys are saying, you could kind of go all over the place with everyone. The only
Yep.
person, like kind of from the beginning, that really always kind of hit the radar for me was Liv.
Hmm.
And now and it could be a total misdirect the way she's portrayed, all the little things
Yeah.
we've seen, all the little interactions that she's had. It could be a total misdirect. But then again, and you guys have said it too, just like, Billy, so in your face the whole time. Is he not? He is. No, he's not. Wait a minute, he just died. Oh, that was a
Yeah.
fake out. So the execution, and I think also, and you guys have touched upon this too, I think Radio Silence, I think they understand that probably the best justice they could give this movie. Obviously, the reveal is important. Obviously,
Yeah.
the kills and these new characters, and obviously respecting the past. But I think the execution of the story. I mean, if you and they are, they're so indebted to Wes Craven, to this franchise. I think that they're going to put their best foot forward with the execution of the story. No
Yeah.
matter who it is, who
Hmm.
Ghostface is, or the mastermind, or whatever. And with that being said, I think that that's going to be the most important thing as far as who the reveal is. So, in other words, Mickey was always right in front of us, the whole time. Roman was right in front of us the
Yeah.
whole time. And you always had these moments where, well, and we can debate about how effective Scream 3 was or Scream 2 versus the original, but I think the story is going to be executed very well.
Okay.
So I'm going with Judy. I'm going with Liv.
Okay.
The second killer, it's so hard to say. It
Yeah.
really is. I mean,
It
and you
is.
guys you guys have made a good case. I mean, Chad, obviously, physically it would make sense. It really would. In a couple of the TV spots, he just has this kind of demeanor that kind of, I just, I think of, I don't think it's Richie.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, I think that kind of be too easy. And I know we could look back to Billy and say that too, but I think that if I was to say who the second person would be, I say it could be Chad. But I'm definitely with the on the Judy train. I think that'd be great payoff, and Live for sure, Live for sure.
I
So the
also think that
collective.
when it comes to Chad,
Right?
like we see him get attacked, right? But
Yes.
when does he
Right.
get attacked? He gets attacked when he goes outside looking for Liv. Wouldn't it make
Right.
sense
Yeah.
that if they both are involved, that they would stage it for the people inside?
That would make sense.
Yeah.
Like that would make a
Yeah.
ton of sense. That everyone's inside. He goes looking for Liv because he doesn't know where she's at. She attacks him, and and now it's like, oh well, like let me play dead so I can operate, and everyone thinks I'm dead. Whatever. I think that just makes perfect sense. Like you would stage it for everyone inside, and then
Mhm.
now you can execute your plan as Liv and Chad Ghostface.
Yeah. I'm going back to though what Jake mentioned earlier, and we talked about it a lot on my other live stream. I have dissected those scenes now, and if they are actual scenes in the movie, which we don't know for sure if they're actually going to be in there, but if they're really in there of Chad when he gets attacked by when he's looking for Liv with his phone, he turns around,
Mhm.
he's stabbed right there. And then the next time we see Chad, or actually that was the second time. The first trailer we saw the other attack where the Ghostface flings the doors open of the shed and runs
Mhm.
after him and stabs him in the back. But if you notice in that scene, he's already limping. He's already holding his side. So that means that when the scene with Liv where he's looking
You're
for Liv on
right.
his phone, that's the first attack. He gets stabbed there, and now he's running, I guess, limping across the yard, and then all of a sudden the shed doors fly open. And I'm like, it makes no logical sense that this Ghostface killer, the first one, would stab him while he's there with the phone, and then he would say, "Oh, hold on a minute," and run past him and go into the shed and shut the doors. That just makes no sense. That
Right.
means that second killer, guys, had to be in the shed already. Which brings me back to what Jake and I were talking about earlier, where I believe these are two Ghostface killers attacking Chad at the same time. The only way that doesn't make sense to me is if one of those scenes is an outtake. That's the only thing that would make sense. They would say, okay, fine. But if they're
Mhm.
both in the movie, guys, I'm convicted in my mind. I'm conviction in my mind that there's two Ghostface killers there attacking. Now, one of them could be Liv, and we all agree Liv's one of the killers. We all
Yeah.
just said that. So
Yep.
she could totally be that one that he turns around, and he's just bam, she gets him. But then that second accomplice, whoever it is, Wes or take your pick, gets Chad, and I think that's where they finish him off in the yard there. And I think that scene is not far from the finale of the film. That's what I think that because it's at nighttime. It wouldn't surprise me if that's the same night that Sidney and Gail come.
Ooh, okay.
Oh,
That'd be
okay.
cool.
Wow. Yeah,
I,
that
I will
really.
say though, like so when it comes to Liv and Amber, I think that they are blatantly trying to throw both in our face as Ghostface, but in
Mhm.
different demeanors. Like Liv, they're trying to blatantly throw it in our face, but as a character that like we don't really know much about outside of the thing. Like outside
Yeah.
of that, like we don't really, and like maybe in like two words and out of all the trailer. So it's like that ultimate red herring. Everything's just kind of been like creepy, weird, like okay, like hang on a minute. Where Amber, they are blatantly throwing it in our face that she is Ghostface. I mean, all of the
Yeah.
accusations, the
Yeah.
whole smelt it, dealt it thing. Like it's
She's
just like
burning.
yeah, it's just
Yep.
exactly.
She's on
it's
fire.
Just this, yeah, I mean, like all signs point to Amber being Ghostface, and that's why I kind of lean more towards Liv because I think they're trying to blatantly point to Liv being Ghostface also, just not as in your face, over the top as Amber, which usually means that the one that they're over the top with is the one that usually isn't Ghostface. It's usually the one that they're in your face with, but more subtly. Like, you know, that's what.
And that's why she gets Kentucky Fried in the kitchen.
Kentucky Fried.
She
gets toasted, baby.
And you can't fake that.
Amber fried chicken.
That's gonna be a cool. That's gonna be a really cool kill to see in this film. Like we've never seen Ghostface play with fire really before. I mean, Scream 3, the house explosion, but that's kind of dumb. Let's see Ghostface with a flamethrower. Yeah, I think that's kind of
How dare you?
Are you going to do it, Steven? No, I'm just joking.
How'd you not smell gas in the house? Come on. It's crazy.
Seriously, you make an excellent point. Yeah, but Scream 3 had so many issues. Scream 3 had so many issues. Like,
Angelina, baby.
There were so many things that didn't make sense, and that were
gosh, please. We don't have time for this. Oh, please. No, please.
It's true.
It's Scream 5 is a week away. Let's save this for after the Scream 5.
But he's right. Okay.
No.
When Jake's right, he's right.
Knight, come on, bro. You got my back, Knight. I know you do.
I do, man. There were two killers. I just want to say.
Okay, so me and Jake are signing a truce, so we're going after you two. That's what
you guys are signing a truce.
We're signing a truce to go after you two. That's what it looks like.
Turning your rage on us.
You guys will have a signing a contract.
After this live stream, you and me, Jake, we're gonna go and sign a contract.
Oh gosh! Now I'm waiting for the community post to start flowing. Oh my gosh!
Forging an alliance.
So I actually got a message from somebody asking our opinions on something, and I actually wanted to share this because I actually thought it was a good point of discussion. So it says, I'll fast forward all the other stuff, but it says, you guys have discussed so many things and you are all awesome. Thank you for all of that. One thing you have all said at one point or another is how radio silence is making this similar to the first Scream. It's been mentioned a lot, actually. Also, that the Scream franchise doesn't do anything by accident. So my question to all of you is, what do you make of Dewey saying this one feels different when all indicators, including the actors themselves, stating it feels so much like the original, point to it being so similar to the first? So who wants to take it away? You want to take it away, Craven? I just really like that question. I actually thought it was a really good
that's a good one.
question because we have all talked about that at one point, and it's been said in the actual movie or in the trailer or whatever.
Thing.
Go ahead, take it away.
No, I'll go first. Sure, I'll throw my idea out, my feedback. So what I think Dewey is meaning by that is he's referring to the attacks themselves. In other words, in the previous Scream films, when Ghostface attacked, he killed. The only exception to that I can recall was Derek getting stabbed because he was in a hurry to get out of the sorority house because everyone was coming in, right? And Jill, who got stabbed in the arm whenever Olivia got killed across the street. But again, that was a setup, as we know, to throw her off. So with those two aside, I don't recall ever being in a situation where Ghostface attacked and screamed and they didn't die. So for Dewey, living through all of these events and seeing them firsthand, for him to see people attacked like Tara, who wasn't killed, who we were predicting, and I predict there'll be more than just her that didn't get killed. But even if it was just her, just one, that feels different if you're Dewey. Wait a minute, this is not the same. Why didn't he finish her off? Right? So I think that in my mind, when Dewey says that, I've always thought that's what he meant. That there's a different feel to the attacks. The way the attacks are done. And guys, maybe how their Ghostface does the attacks. You know, we don't know how different, if it's just going to be straight up stabbings as we're used to, or if we're going to see something different or a little bit different. So I never applied that to the feel of the movie for us as viewers. Only if for the character in the movie saying something about these feel different, because we got a survivor. That's never
Hmm.
really happened like
Right.
that. That was my
Yeah.
thought on it.
I mean, it could be the type of thing where so you have a survivor, but also just the brutality of the attack, like
Right. Exactly.
maiming someone,
Yes.
and you definitely could have killed them, but you don't to send a message. I mean,
Yeah.
that's definitely a brand new, angle that they could explore a little bit, and when you think of, Mickey, or you think of Billy and Stu, you think of Jill, I mean, they were, whew, they were out there.
Yeah.
What if this killer, it's not even a question of the being, psychotic. They're totally, with it or under control or in better control. And this is totally like just almost surgical. They're going after, and I'm not saying that's going to happen with a whole bunch of these attacks. But maybe two of them, it might be the type of thing where the victims could have been killed, but they weren't. They were just badly injured or
Yes.
maimed, or maybe when they're stabbed, it's in places where obviously it's not going to kill them. And I don't know. I'm just throwing
Yeah.
crap out there, but you carve into them or something like that. I mean, that could totally
Yeah.
be some new territory to take this Ghostface killer to make it totally different, or make this Ghostface killer totally different than all the other ones before. And that would be pretty interesting, to see this person. It's not just a question of them being psychotic. They're totally, whatever the
Hmm.
motive is, whether it's revenge or whatever, it's totally, surgical in nature. So that's how I took it as well.
Yeah.
Because in the trailer, when you see the attacks and stuff, it just looks, there's a brutality to it. I mean, obviously a trailer can be cut in certain ways to look a certain way, but I just felt this intensity,
Yes.
in the attacks. So that's what I took away from it
Well,
as
even
well.
how he grabs Tara's leg and like just yanks
Yeah,
her across the
Yanks.
floor. It's like just total
Yeah,
control. Like,
yeah. Hmm.
whoa.
And I think I pretty much agree with you guys. I think that it's going to be one of those things where this Ghostface killer is just so brutal and so like strategically intelligent that it's going to blow Dewey away. I think it's going to be like, oh my, and it's going to terrify him. He's going to be like, I've never had to deal with anything like this before. If you go back to that
Mm,
first film, like sure, you can argue that Billy and Stu had a good plan of attack, but at the same
yeah,
time you can see faults in it. You can see things that like they messed up because they're just two 17-year-olds in high school trying to
right.
kill people. So like it's not the most intelligent plan. It's a plan made up by kids essentially. And that's
Hmm.
what I feel like the same thing is going to be here, but maybe a little more, maybe like a stronger argument for them to be the killers. Maybe these guys are, whoever it is just has a better plan of attack and is going to be more
Hmm.
brutal. It is going to send a message, like not leaving Tara alive, for example. They have an agenda,
Hmm.
they're sticking to it, and it's going to go pretty well for them, probably until the third act, is my guess.
It's usually how it goes.
I
Hmm.
would love to see that. I would love to see a Ghostface. I've been talking about this since the beginning. I would love to see a Ghostface killer who is just way more brutal than what we've seen in the past.
Hmm.
We've
Yeah.
gotten some good kills in Scream, but
Yes.
nothing like Jason Voorhees, where it's like putting someone in a sleeping bag and smacking them against a tree to death.
Right.
Like, dude, that's awesome. I want to
Oh,
see some more. I want to see some stuff like that in Scream 5.
And another thing too is that in
yeah.
all of the movies, Ghostface is always, you know, tripping over things, getting
Right.
kicked,
Yeah.
and don't get me wrong, Sydney's awesome, but I mean, come on, man. I mean, getting their ass kicked a little bit here and there. I mean, what if this Ghostface has none of that? Like it's all business,
Yes.
however they craft it. And of course, it might depend on who the Ghostface killer or killers are. But I'm just saying,
Yeah.
what if this particular one doesn't trip over things, doesn't fall down, doesn't have the door, slammed in their face, and I mean, at the same time, I don't want them to be totally like, perfect, because that's
Right.
not realistic either. But I'm just saying, what if they're
Especially
a
if you're
lot
17
more
years old.
seasoned? Right,
Yeah.
Sorry.
right,
Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
I've
Very.
always,
yeah.
I've always said that I really want a Ghostface in this film, which it does look like this, but like one of the first things I ever said about Ghostface is that I said, I really want a Ghostface that when we see the next target, we know that's it. They're gone. Like,
Mhm.
because that's the thing. Like most films, like we've seen Ghostface attack people. We've seen like the setup of the next target, but there's
Mhm.
always been that like, are they going to get away? Are they going to be able to kick Ghostface in the grajones and run away? Like
Right,
what's going to
right.
happen here? This kind of thing. Like, or are they gone? Like I want no doubt. I want
Yeah.
like, if somebody comes on screen and they're like, walking through their house or whatever, it's like they're gone. That's it. Like this person's dead. Like I want that brutality. I want that that Ghostface that just doesn't play around, because that was always the thing. We've always gotten Ghostface that like sort of plays with their food, and it's like at some point you would imagine that a killer's just going to kill. They're not going to mess around. They're not going to play. Like, they're just going to show up. And that's kind of what we see. I mean, even Tara, we see Ghostface sneak up behind Tara, grab her around the neck. So likely she's just taking a beating. But Tara's scene seems more of like a message scene to me. Like, I am going to beat you so badly that, it's just your great grandchildren are going to remember this, like, that bad. And I really think it's sending a message to Sam. And and like I've had people ask me, well, like why wouldn't they just kill her? And it's like, because if you kill Tara, you run the risk of Sam, especially with the sort of rift between their relationship, you run the risk of Sam just going and going. Like just going up to Woodsboro, going to the funeral, whatever. Maybe she might not even show up to the funeral. And I know that sounds silly, but siblings do, like parents, everybody do that all the time, depending on how serious the rift is. People don't go to their brothers, sisters, uncles, cousins, nephews funerals all the time. And so I really think that it's sending a message. They're not killing her, because if you put her in the hospital for 3 months, well, guess what? You probably got Sam in Woodsboro for the next 2.5, 3 months. However long it takes her to get there. And I just really think that that's kind of the route Ghostface is going. Outside of that, I really hope it's just brutality. I hope that they just like, okay, like after we get through the message sending, let's get like, and all those business. Kills are happening. Boom, that's it. It's all all business. Let's get through it. But I do. I really, I'm curious to see how it all plays out. Now, touching on the initial question about Dewey, like why it feels different. I'm with you all 100%. I think we're all in the consensus that it's just the way that these attacks are being played out. These smarts, like Jake said, like the strategicness, especially because usually they're high school people. So you would never think that like that high school kids would have this sort of brutality, that they would have this sort of, ingenious on execution of the attacks. I mean, some of these attacks that we've seen are legitimately tactical.
Yes.
Like they're not just like random, like I'm going to chase after you and poke you with my knife. No, it's like, like you have like I think it was Craven that said earlier, like you have Ghostface running out of the shed. That is likely a second Ghostface. Like that is tactical. That is them. That means one Ghostface chased Chad to that area, and then boom,
to flush them out.
Flush them out, exactly. And that kind of looks to be the case in the opening scene with Tara, and so on and so forth. I really think we're starting to see these sort of signs of just a smarter Ghostface, which I'm really, really all for. I'm really I am. I'm all for it, 100%.
Me too.
But man, I don't know.
Remember on that opening attack, we have Ghostface at the front door. Tara opens the door, stabs her in the side. She shuts the door and starts walking backwards, and then next thing you know, Ghostface is behind her. So it could be like both of them there. It could be like Billy and Stu are both at Casey Becker's house. So it could just as easily be two killers there with Tara, one outside and then one already coming in the inside. But she doesn't see it coming. It's from behind. It's like you said earlier, grabs her, and then we know he doesn't kill her there because later he's throwing her down on the floor, and they're in the kitchen by the back door where the two doors have the little curtains on. It's the back doors that opened up. So she's going throughout the house, and so it's like cornering your prey. It's like
just
two
like
lions.
in Scream 3 with Sidney at the house.
Yes, exactly, on the set. It's exactly the same thing. Yes, and it's totally cornering her and just messing with her in a brutal way. And Fate, you touched on something earlier, and I want to mention this. another reason we can be confident that Tara survives, for me, is a 100% clincher, is because in that first featurette they put out, where we see Sam and Richie going to Dewey's trailer, and he opens the door up, and she says, I want you to help me protect my family." I'm like, okay, there it is. There's because if Tara was dead, she would not be. She, like you say, she would either not go to the funeral or she'd be there for the funeral and she'd leave. But she's now recruiting help because they ask why are you going to go to a retired sheriff, because we need an expert. So when she said, "I need you to help me protect my family," and then what do we see? Dewey and them at the hospital. Right. It just all makes sense. So yeah, I think we can be 100%. There's very few things we can be 100% on a Scream movie, but I think her surviving is 100%. Yeah, I think they've shown that to us. Yeah,
absolutely. No, I agree with that. Do you agree with that too, Jake?
Yeah. I think something I just wanted to point out, or something I wanted to bring up. Sorry, getting a little tired. Another thing about like how strategic the attacks are that we've seen so far, like they're definitely a little more complicated than like some of the more simple knife kills we've gotten in the past. It is a good argument for a mastermind, like a mastermind running the show, like because like maybe teenagers couldn't come up with something that strategic, so maybe like you could argue Judy Hicks could be a mastermind, teaching these kids how to be how to kill people more effectively. I don't know if I love the idea, but I think that would be cool. That's a cool thing to explore. I don't know.
It would be different. I mean, it would be. I'm telling you right now, I think that something like that would be so fresh for the franchise, and I definitely think there's going to be something about this movie that is going to be fresh. Whether it's that as far as the mastermind and being so strategic. Obviously, it looks as though Ghostface is going to be a lot more brutal, sending a message and stuff like that. And I think you almost have to have something fresh. I mean, this franchise, as great as the franchise is, I mean, we've had a long period since the last movie, and obviously Wes isn't with us anymore. So I think you got to come with your A game. And I think that stuff like that, the stuff that we're thinking about and theorizing on, I think it totally makes sense. And you think about the fact that Radio Silence, they're fans of this franchise, like we're fans of this franchise. So obviously, it stands to reason that they've had conversations about these types of things too. I mean, think if we were directing this movie, I don't know about you guys, but one of the first things that would be in my thought process, what can we do to make this fresh and really, make people be like, wow, I didn't expect that, or wow, this is different, or wow, this is something we haven't seen in the other 4 movies. That'd be one of the first things I'd be thinking about. So I definitely think the whole idea of maybe a mastermind helping the kids out or whatever, that's definitely on the table. Ghostface being totally brutal and smarter, I think that's totally on the table too. I mean, it would just make sense to me. It really, really would.
Well, who else would make an incredible mastermind who knows how to kill?
There we go.
Mr. Stu Macher. What better mastermind than Stu, baby? Come on!
On the serious matters. Hey,
what you will not discount me like that, Faye. You will not.
What do we make of what? So no, but on a serious note, like, what do we make of Dewey's? See,
dude,
like how I did that.
Killing me. I love it. I love it. I love it a lot.
But no, seriously. You made me lose my train of thought.
Good.
Dewey's rules. They did it. This could be brief, but they didn't really sound like rules. They were more of like what to look out for based on his past experiences. Like Randy gave rules for surviving a horror movie, and it was very meta, given that they were in a horror movie, and it fell in place with what was going on. But this, even you never trust the love interest because by the final act they try to kill you. Like that only happened once with Billy. Derek was the complete opposite. Derek was the so. I mean, even most of Dewey's rules don't make sense. The other one, the first one, which is the first one was love interest. The other one was always connection relations to the past. But the thing
Right.
is like we don't really know that for certain unless they fill that in. Yes, you can make an
Yeah.
argument. Casey dated Stu, so there was a
Right.
connection there.
Yes.
The Phil and Maureen went to the same school. Phil was in the class with Mickey and all them, so he was friendly with them. Blah blah blah.
Hmm.
All that. Scream 3. Cotton was obviously Cotton. He was on the set of Stab 3, filming that when he died. He's
Right.
directly tied to Sydney. So boom, you can make
Yep.
the argument for that. Jenny and Marnie. One dated Trevor or cheated on Jill with Trevor, and then the other one
Yes.
was a part of the horror club. So boom, again, another direct tie. But even then, it's kind of vague. We don't like. He made it sound
Yeah.
like they were best friends, shacked up, like, hey, and now you're dead. Like, no, it was
Hmm.
like, and so I don't know. I wanted to get your opinion, all of your opinions on like, what are your thoughts on Dewey's rules? Like, what do you think, Knight?
I mean, I think first of all, I think it's two different things. Kind of what you're saying as far as his history with the killings and dealing with
Yeah,
them, but I think it's also to do it differently in the movie versus
yeah,
what Randy provided. In the first movie, well, actually, first two or whatever, and talked about in three. And I think it's almost playing meta that way as well, because now this is supposed to be a new movie. Of course, every movie after the first movie, new rules and this and that. But I think it's also a play on that because now all we've got left is the OG3. I mean, we've got Judy as well, so I guess maybe we say four. But I think it's also just a meta play in real life is that the way he's looking at this, the way that we're looking at this new movie being Scream 5, that it's going to be different than the previous four. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, that's how I took it. It was almost like, it sounds stupid to even say it out loud, but it's almost like watching David Arquette talk about the idea of the quote unquote rules for this new movie, preparing us for something totally different than we've
Hmm.
seen in the other four movies. That's how I took it.
Well, let me ask you this: do Randy's
Mhm.
rules even affect the characters in the first Scream? Because I would argue against that personally.
I don't think so.
And I think that's a big deal when it comes to whenever someone's laying out the rules for this movie or whatever. It always ends up being the opposite thing.
Yeah,
Like he
Mhm.
says,
Mhm.
like in the first one, it's like if you say you'll be right back, you won't be back. You're gonna die. And then Stu says, I'll be right
I'll
back.
be right back.
Yeah. So I think that they're gonna kind of that's part of the misdirection of any Scream film, I would say, is that they lay out rules for you, but it doesn't matter. Even if you know the rules, you can still die. And that's what's so scary about a Scream film compared to
Yes.
other slashers.
yeah,
Yes. Yes. Yeah, I think the rules apply to all other horror movies. It's almost like here are the horror movie
Yeah.
rules, but they don't. But these aren't. But in Scream, these don't apply. These are general rules for other movies. But here, you don't have the safety of following that rule and knowing you're going to be okay. You know,
Right.
so I 100% agree, Jake, with what you said there, and Knight with you as well. I think it's both. It's reinterpret. It's almost a reinterpretation of the original. It's like giving a
Hmm.
tip of the hat to the original because we know we expect the rule. We expect there to be rules. It's
Yeah.
part of a Scream movie, or the first three at
Hmm.
least, right? So, well, even
Hmm.
four. So,
Even four. Yeah.
even four had rules. So yeah, but it's the way it's done is unique to this movie because I love the way the analogy you gave about how it's almost like David Arquette
Hmm.
telling the crew like here's the rules you need to survive this movie. It's really
Hmm.
more about this movie than it is the previous ones. So
Yeah.
anyway, I think you guys nailed it. Yeah, I'm 100%.
Hmm.
I don't
Yeah.
really
yeah.
have much more to add to it than that. I think you nailed it.
I think it ties into like
Absolutely.
what Jake was saying, how like I think
Yeah.
that the whole point is that there aren't no rules. Like
Yes.
this
Hmm.
film, there are no rules.
Right.
Like I don't think Randy's rules take effect into this movie, and I think the reason Dewey's aren't really necessary rules, because they really weren't rules.
Hmm.
They were just kind of like just
Okay.
like
Guidelines
connections,
almost.
like things, yeah,
Guidance.
things to
Yeah.
look out for, rather
Hmm.
than
Right.
rules.
Hmm.
Not like it wasn't so much like don't do this, do this. It was more of like, hey, do this type thing. And then, they always said the connection's always in the path. Go to where the first kill was, and that's likely where you'll find your killer type thing. And it's like they were just kind of like this is what to look out for. They weren't really
Hmm.
rules. And I think that was kind of the point. There are no rules. All you can do is just kind of piece what you can together and try to
Hmm.
find the killer.
Right.
And that sort of resorts in. I think that that's kind of the direction in which they're likely going with this film.
I
But yeah,
agree.
I think you all hit it on the head.
I
Um,
agree. I've got one more question, and I know we'll probably be tying it up soon. I know Jake's getting tired, but for Sydney, and we've talked about a lot of things, but for Sydney at the end of this movie, what do you guys think will happen with her? I think we're all in agreement that she's going to survive, or at least I think we are, right? Yeah. So
Yes.
what do you think will happen to her at the end of the movie? Will she just kind of? Well, I'll let you guys answer it. Jake, you want to start or?
Yeah. I
Okay.
feel like this is a this is an H2O situation where it's like, okay, we got the OG3 coming back, and this is like, and everyone's thinking this is the last time we get them, and in another 20 years, we're probably going to get another reboot of the franchise with the OGs coming back again. I genuinely think that what's next for Sidney Prescott is something. I think a lot of people would argue against that, though. I think some people would say that this is their last movie and stuff, but these actors and actresses are not that old. David Arquette, Courtney Cox, Nev Campbell. These guys are going to be making movies for a long time to come, I think. I don't think they're done with the Scream franchise after this. Some people have argued that, like, well, they had to convince Sydney to come back and all that, Nev Campbell to come back. Well, she's back, and I think she's going to be back for a while. I think that
Mm.
there's something next for her. I do think that if, let's say, Radio Silence gets a trilogy, they do end up making 3 more movies. I don't think, even with this movie, I don't think the focus is ever going to be back on Sydney, David. I'm sorry, I keep mixing up their names. I'm getting
Yeah.
old, guys. Sorry.
It's all good.
That's all right.
Sydney, Dewey, and Gail. I don't think the focus is ever going to be back on them, but they're going to be a part of the plot. They're always going to be there to help assist our new characters out every single time and have some kind of connection to them. But it's not going to be about
Yeah.
it's not going to be about killing Sidney Prescott anymore. We've done that.
Yeah.
We've seen 4
Hmm.
movies trying to do that. Let's move on. Let's move on. Let's do something else. Let's have a new Ghostface in the new generation. Try doing something for a completely different motive. I think that's
Right.
something we're definitely going to see in Scream 5. And if Tyler Gillette, Matt Bettinelli open, they decide to keep moving forward and they do get a trilogy, fingers crossed. I think it would be
Yeah.
sick if they had like an arc throughout 3 movies that would explore something with these new characters, at least the living ones.
yeah,
Hmm.
well, Jake,
Agreed.
how would you suggest that the OG3 are involved? Because like especially this was so let's say Dewey dies. Let's just say because we're all kind of on that consensus. So let's say Dewey's a goner. So let's say you keep Courtney and Nev. Um, then like how do you like there's no reason for either of them ever to return back. I mean, Gail, you can make an argument just because of her career, but Nev, like, why would Nev ever even want to get involved? She has a family now that she wants to take care of, unless it's directly involved with her. But then you're just kind of rehashing back to the beginning. So how do you incorporate the OG3 into this film? Or well, I guess at that point too, how do you incorporate the Gail and Sidney dynamic into the film if there's no real reason for them to get involved?
Well, I think that's the
Survivor's
question that
Guilt.
this movie. Yes, actually, yes. This whole movie, I believe, is going to answer that question. It's going to say like, well,
That's a
why
good
are,
answer.
like, why are they involved? And I think it's like, yeah, you could argue Gail's there because she just wants a story and all that, but I think Sydney's
Hmm.
there because this is directly related to her. This was something that was started with her
Hmm.
boyfriend back in 1996, and maybe she does feel some kind of guilt. Maybe she feels some kind of responsibility to take down Ghostface every single time, whoever it is.
Maybe.
Yeah, but
I mean,
eventually you got to think that you get
or
sick
maybe
of that.
some type of variation of that. Because I mean, think about what she was doing in Scream 3. She really, I think she truly, and in 4 with her book, I think she truly wants
Hmm.
to help um,
Yes.
victims and survivors and stuff. And I'm not saying for the next 8 movies, she's just gonna show up and be like, hey, well, I can help you out. But I'm just saying, maybe there might be some shadows of that in what happens, even if it's just for 2 other movies. If we're just talking about this trilogy, and then of course things can happen down the road. We've seen Laurie
Hmm.
Strode come back, so who knows? But like in these movies, there might be something along that line that really motivates her or drives her deep down within.
Yeah. Here's my thought on it. I think a really neat way to do it would be like the movie ends like her let's just for the sake of argument, Sam is the final girl. Like she's going to be the new one to take the torch. Let's just say that's going to be the case. So her throughout this movie, once Sidney comes into play, and she kind of recruits Sam, and they form a relationship. They start to bond throughout the Scream 5, whatever involvement they have together. Well, let's say the movie ends and everyone, everything's done, and then it's something simple like Sam's talking to her and says, "Hey, I could never have done this without, thank you. This could have never stopped without your help." And Sydney says something like, "Hey, listen, I understand what it is to be in your shoes, and I know what it feels like to survive this, and I know how you're going to be feeling if you ever need to talk, or if you ever need me again for anything. Here's my number, an email, you contact me anytime." And it's something simple as that. And then Scream 6 comes up, and again, Jake, I think you're right. Sydney's out of the picture. It's focused on Sam's continuation. Whatever happens next, there comes a moment where she's in crisis, and she calls for Sydney to talk to Sydney. And maybe Sydney's not actively there like Arnold in the Terminator coming in to clean up everything, but at the same time, she could be, and she could come and help again, and she could be involved. She could be that one that gives her that guidance and that counseling, almost, if you will, and because they were in this together, and Sydney's history of it, she knows exactly what the emotions she's going to feel and all that stuff. So my thought of it is it could be something. It doesn't have to be a big thing. It could be simply opening a door. Remember, radio silence, all they got to do is just have a door open. They don't have to go through it, right?
A cameo is. I don't rule out the potential of a cameo, but a cameo is different than them actually in the film.
Well, no, I think she would be in the film in this scenario.
Yeah, but my biggest problem is that she's not, if Sydney lived in Woodsboro, it makes sense, because it's very easy to incorporate. But the problem is she lives in, I think what do they say, Chicago? I think she lives in Chicago.
I'm not sure.
I think they said Chicago, and that's where that bridge thing she's running on is. So I think it's Chicago.
Could be.
So wherever she is, New York, Chicago, Milwaukee, wherever. The point is that
Tampa Bay.
The point is she's not in California. She's not in Woodsboro. So my thing is that it makes it hard, because she has a family, she has life, she has stuff. Sam could be like, "Hey, there's another killing. I could really use your help here." But it's for what? Am I really gonna risk my life and my children and whatever to just go help Sam randomly? I don't have any involvement, because you're not going to be able, because it's either you have Sydney be directly involved, but then it's just the rehash of 1 through 4, which I think is getting a little redundant. It's becoming tired, so I just think you have to move off from her. You have to. Because
unless her and Sam form a really good bond.
That's what I'm talking about.
Is she going to have more of a bond than she does with her children and her husband in whatever city she's in? But we don't. How much of a bond is she going to develop in one night?
Right. Okay. Have you ever played D&D? Tyler, have you ever played D&D? Her alignment is lawful good. She feels like she has to follow her own rules and she has to help out the people, and maybe chaotic good, but good is my point. Sidney Prescott is a good character. She wants to help out where she can help out, and she feels like she's been, she even says in the trailer, I've been through this. I know what you're going through. Right. She can help out in this situation because that's who she is as a person. It's not I wouldn't say it's the most intelligent thing if you want to just
but I think that's just fan service. You know what I mean? Because that's the thing. If she's gonna come back, then it's you're gonna bring her back every movie for that same point. I think let's say you do that for Scream 6. You really going to do that again for Scream 7? At that point, you might as well just kill her in Scream 6. But I think that would upset people more than if she just rode off into the sunset after 5. I think the only real option, I think really the only real solution is that you have her ride off in the sunset in this movie. She goes be a mother, and that's that. Yeah, you might be able to have a little cameo in Scream 7. Let's say it's something crazy develops. Sam hits up Sydney hey, I just need some points. I just need to know, what was your experience in this moment? This is the third attack I'm dealing with, that kind of thing. I could see that. But to have her plugged in and trying to make some story that you got to try to fit into the overall story to incorporate Sydney, it's what for? just move on. Like, let her be
She's
happy.
a great
let her
character.
She is, but at some point, but it's the problem that many people are having with this installment when it was announced. It's like, oh, it's just going to be another repetitive Sydney story, And it's like, how many times could Sydney get involved on something before it's just like, I'm done, or she just dies? Like, how many killers are going to, beat her down to a point where she's laying there pretty much lifeless and not just put the final nail in the coffin. I mean, it's starting to get to a point where it's becoming unrealistic. And that's what I don't want to do. I don't want to jeopardize realism of Scream and what Scream inherently is just to appease fans. My biggest problem with Stu. Like, it's an inherent fan, here you go, on a platter, rather than like what inherently Scream is. Scream isn't a, let's bring back everyone from the dead, because it's like, then what's next? So you incorporate Sydney. It's like, how long are you going to keep trying to service fans before, they blow their load? Excuse my
but of course, but one thing about that though,
I'm glad you got my joke, Jake. Thank you.
I got it.
Anytime you're talking about anytime you're talking about a franchise, or you're talking about sequels, you always have in that equation, what came before, or the mythology, or what worked in the other movies, or what were the best things about those movies, whether that be the character or something. And so obviously Sydney is a huge part of the past. So as far as for this trilogy, I mean, beyond 5, let's talk about 6 and 7. It would not surprise me if they find a way to incorporate her to whatever degree. And we're talking about a lot of different things here. It would make sense if she finds some type of kinship with Sam, if they form a nice bond, which, by the way, will only strengthen Sam as a character. So that actually would make sense. Now, remember, and Stephen, we talked about this with Scream 4. The thing that was so rough about Jill being the killer, or the reveal of it, was that, especially in the beginning of the movie, you really started to gravitate towards her because she looked like a young Sidney Prescott. She reminded you of a young Sidney Prescott. Oh, she's the cousin of Sidney Prescott. So they were kind of doing that type of stuff in Scream 4. So I agree, Fate. You got to have the right reason to have her there, and not just always fan service. But again, it's all about to me, it's always about execution. If they can have good execution and give me Sidney Prescott, I'm all for it. I think, I'm just talking about 2 movies. I'm not talking about if they were to do another 2 trilogies, or another 2 movies and another trilogy. No, I don't expect every time Sydney's going to come in. This time.
Like, how long? Like when is the right time to write her off? I think right now is a good time because everyone kind of expects it. Everyone thinks that this is it. So I think now would be the best point. And here's the thing. I think Sidney Prescott is in the film as long as Neve Campbell wants Sidney Prescott to be in the film. You know what I mean? Like, if Neve is kind of up in the air and is like, hey, whatever you guys want to do, I'm cool with. Or she says, like, hey, this is it. This is the last movie I'm doing. Then that's it. But if Neve is like, hey, I love this. This was great. I'm all for it. I would love to do more. Then you incorporate Sidney Prescott. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like, just from a radio silence perspective.
Yeah.
But from a realistic perspective, like, I just don't see a point. Like, you got to move on at some point. And to kind of push back on what you were saying, Knight, like, yes, most sequels and stuff have always incorporated elements that have worked from the past, the final girls, so on and so forth. But at the same time, almost all of those franchises have ruined their franchises by killing the final girl. So it's like, what do you expect? What would you rather have? Sydney ride off in the sunset in Scream 5, or her to die in Scream 7?
Well, but that's not an but hang on, Fate. That's not an either or proposition. Let's not use the law of the excluded middle here.
Ever. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, it comes to a point where where you kind of have to have where you have this moment.
Okay, can I just say something about this?
Go ahead.
We're making judgments on future movies without even knowing how this story is going to go. We may get to the end of this movie and be like, oh my gosh, it makes perfect sense for Sidney to come back in 6. We don't know how they're going to do that, and so I guess I'm just saying that I can agree and disagree on all these points at certain points within them, but at the end of the day, there is no rule that this has to be her last movie, and that they can't bring her back in a way that does work. That it's not just fan service. That it actually really makes sense to the story, because we haven't seen the story yet. Now, and I think I think this conversation it's fun to have now, but it's going to be really fun to have after we see the movie, because then we can be like, okay, guys, here's how it ended. Yeah. What do you think? Is she coming back around? Now then, because then we can see how they worked
we
her
just
in
don't
with
have
Sam.
a definitive answer either way.
Well, that's what spot. No, we will be, and that's what I mentioned earlier. I think what will be interesting to see is if radio silence just has the door open, right. We're not going to know for sure, but will they end the movie in such a way where when it's done, we all feel like, oh, she's done, she's gone, she's not coming back.
And
or do we end it?
Hate me. You guys are gonna hate me for bringing this up again, but if there's a cliffhanger,
exactly. That's what I was gonna say.
Come on,
we can continue this same string of Ghostface killings in the next movie. So it would make sense for Sidney to still be a part of it. What I'm saying is, Radio Silence's trilogy should all be one skew of Ghostface killings.
A big story.
Be one big story in
an
3
arc.
movies.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what I was.
And if it starts with Sidney, end it with Sidney.
Yes.
Yes. Right. And if Stu is in it, baby, he's the mastermind, he's the cliffhanger, and we're gonna ride this puppy out all the way. No, I'm just.
All right.
I know it. I had to throw that in there.
One last question before we end it, just before I forget, because it popped into my head. We talked about the killers, because this is kind of our last live stream together. We need to talk about who do we think survives, at least. I mean, there's a million other things that we could talk about, obviously, but we're already 2 hours in, so it's like, how much longer are we to go? But I think that is extremely significant. Like, we gotta talk about survivors.
We still love you, Jen.
We do, Jen, and I have to say this. I have to give props to everyone in the live chat. We've got over 50 people still in the live chat now at 2 hours. That is incredible, guys. Thank you. All y'all who are here, thank you for hanging out with us. And listen, be sure you guys, I'm just going to shameless plug right now. Please give this video a thumbs up while we're thinking about it. Absolutely. It really will help the replay. Once this goes to replay, it will really help out a lot. So if you don't mind, if you haven't already, throw in that thumbs up. Yeah, Marion, I see you there. Throw in that thumbs up, and we appreciate it.
And I want to say one thing too. The other thing to let you guys know, especially for the live chat, and for any of you guys that, especially for me, I do a lot of live streaming, and it is very difficult to always be able to acknowledge everyone in the chat while you're also talking or debating or whatever. So it's not so much ignoring, but it's more so that, this can make as much sense as possible. So we definitely don't want you guys, for you, Jen, or anyone else to feel like we're ignoring you. But we just had so much that we wanted to get out. And we still haven't we got one more question. Plus, we've got a big announcement, and we're already 2 hours in.
We could still talk about. You know what I mean? Like,
so true.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's the only only reason that we're not acknowledging every comment, because it would be impossible to do that. And for myself, being that I live stream 95% of the time on my channel, I know how difficult it is to do that, even with a small amount of people in live chat, not to mention having 45, 50 plus. 50. So just so that 60. You got, just so that you guys understand that, because we're just like, we're trying to get these things out here for you guys to hear and hopefully be able to talk about, and get excited for the movie. So anyways, I'm sorry. What was your question?
The thing is too, is that, like, to kind of elaborate more on that, because I think this is a good point just for people to kind of understand, is that, like, this is about people being able to see inside of our minds, in our discussions, things like that. Like, we all do, for the most part, our own live streams where it's just about the chat, or we touch on the chat, things like that. This is the collective coming together, having a conversation.
True.
If we can get to the chat, then we always try to, but it's not like, I don't want to make it sound like it's not about the chat, because it is about everybody. But this is about us coming together, having a conversation, and allowing people to interject, have their opinions, have the discussion based on what we're talking about, and sort of see a different side to us. This isn't like just a live stream, like, hey, let's get into all of the comments and just hit
Right.
every single comment, because then we'd never be able to express our opinions. And it's like, why are we even doing this? Like, we might as well just do the regular live stream separately that we always do. This is
or
about
a Q&A.
Yeah, exactly.
Right,
A Q&A,
right.
which
Q&A,
I mean, I don't have a problem like dedicating, maybe once a month we just do a dedicated like Q&A collectively. I mean, that's fine. I mean, we're still navigating this Lethal Collective thing, but the whole idea, the whole inherent concept is to just us to get up here and just talk about the things that we can't talk about on our channels, to give our opinions in ways that we can't get our opinions, have a genuine discussion. And all of you watching are the fly on the wall listening to our conversation. It's not so much directly about the chats as it is like our discussion and allowing you into that, rather than us doing this, because we do this anyway behind the camera.
We do.
This is your opportunity
We do.
to see it. We really do. So this is your opportunity to see it on camera, if that makes sense.
Right.
Like, that's what this is about. This is about you having the opportunity to see what we talk about every day behind the scenes, whether it's through text, whether it's through phone call, whether it's through group chat, Skype, whatever the case may be. This is your opportunity to see that. But I just wanted to kind of elaborate on that, because I think it is a good point. Because I've had it's not the first time we've seen that kind of thing where it's like, hey, you're not answering our questions, you're not doing this, and it's like, it's always about you all that are watching. It is. Don't get me wrong.
That's why we do it.
It's always about you. That's why we do it. But it's not about. This isn't a Q&A to answer your question. This is just for us to kind of vent in many ways. You know what I mean? This is our opportunity to kind of let loose and just like be ourselves and, express how much I hate Jake and, things like that. This is a real opportunity. This is a real opportunity. But
hey, this is a great segment. I love it. That was well said. Well said, Fate. I'm glad you brought that up. But this is a great comment night that you put up here. And I think it's the perfect segue because, gentlemen, we led with, at the very beginning, 2 hours ago, we led that there was going to be a big announcement. So who wants to make it? Who wants to make the big announcement?
Knight, this is your live stream, man.
Okay, Knight. It's all you, buddy.
Let it in.
All right, so what we're going to do, the big announcement is, and as you guys have probably figured out, when we're getting together for the live stream, obviously we each have our own channel, and what usually happens is either we will, I think was it the New Year one? Like, Steven, you had it live, the recording that is. You had it go live. I had it go live on mine.
That's right.
And then you guys had it, brought it up afterwards or whatever. Edited, and sometimes we've done that with other things, little pieces and so forth. Well, we've talked about this from the beginning, is having one dedicated channel where we can do this every week. It'll be the Lethal Collective channel on its own, a separate channel that we're going to come live with you guys, or at least, as much as we can. If we have to record, we'll record, but we're going to come to you guys live to do this stream from that channel, not from our 4 individual channels. And one thing that I want to also say that, Steven, you brought up when we first kind of teased this a couple of streams ago, this does not change our individual channels.
No.
It doesn't mean that Fate's not going to do his videos, or Jake's not going to do his videos, or Steven's not going to do his, or the Night Watch Zone, we're not going to do ours. We're still going to do what we do individually. But because of the fact that we have so much fun getting together, and we really do, I mean, when we do these, I will say this, I'm kind of going all over the place, so you guys rope me in if you have to. When we do this Lethal Collective, what I really enjoy about it is we're just going off. It's like a stream of consciousness. We're just talking, and it's very similar. It is pretty much the same thing what we do when we're not in front of a live audience or whatever. So anyways, the big announcement is that we're going to have the Lethal Collective channel. Hopefully you guys have either checked it out or will check it out, subscribe. I do have the link to the channel in the description of this video right now. And yeah, I mean, it's very exciting because we've talked about this as a possibility for quite a while now. And even though, like Fate said, we're still navigating how we do the
Hmm.
Lethal Collective, how we come to you guys, the discussions and so forth, it's just so exciting to be able to have a dedicated channel to that
Yeah.
alone. And plus, it will be a lot less confusing for you guys as viewers
Hmm.
because I know
Yeah.
I've had comments and I've seen comments on, Fade's channel or Jake's or Steven's where it's like, well, wait a minute, which channel do I go to watch?
Yeah.
So now
Yeah.
that will take care of that. There'll be the Lethal Collective channel where we all four of us will be together. Jake will not be kicked out
Nope.
because I will not
I'm
let that happen.
He
I'm
is
actually
locked.
leaving the Lethal Collective. That's
Yeah,
the
Oh.
next
that,
announcement.
that was his announcement.
Oh.
Yeah.
Stop.
No,
Good
but
God.
to kind of touch on that, it's exciting. And Night,
It is.
you didn't say the actual date that we're. I mean, it's already up and ready to go for you to subscribe.
Yes.
But the first live stream will be the day that Scream releases. So the
Yes.
14th.
Next
The
week.
14th, we will go
Yes.
live. It won't be a spoiler video, nothing like that. So don't worry about
No.
it. We'll probably give our general thoughts because at that
Mhm.
point we all should have seen the film. So it'll be a non-spoiler, like, hey, this is how we felt. But we're really excited. So the first official
Yes.
live stream will be over on Lethal Collective on the 14th of January, January 14th. So lock it in.
Next
Go
Friday.
subscribe.
Yes.
Make sure you have to take care of it. All that stuff. Real quick, and then we can wrap it up because we completely skipped over it. And I see some people in the comments mentioned it. Who do we think survives? I think I'll go first since I'm already here, and then we can just kind of pop through it. I think Sam is the new Sidney. I'm going to say Tara is the new sort of Gail. If Wes isn't the killer, I think he's the final guy. So I think he'll be the Dewey replacement. And then I think we get Mindy as the Randy. Just like 96, I think we get 4 survivors. And I think we'll get a Gail, Dewey, Sidney, and Randy 2022 version. And those are my guesses. What about you, Craven? We'll just go in circles. Go in a circle and let Night close it out.
Yeah, now that works. I'll go pretty quick because it's almost the same. I think it may actually be the same list. So survivors, I'll kind of go kind of quick style. I'm going to go with Sydney, Gail, Mindy, Sam, Tara, and that's 5. And I also say that I called Wes earlier as a Ghostface, and if he's not Ghostface, he will survive. So mine, I have 5 surviving, and Wes is the wild card to be number 6 if he's not Ghostface. But I'm going to lock in those 5.
Okay, Jake.
So first of all, I saw Nikki was in the chat. So what's up? Great dude right there. Just wanted to say hello. I saw you said he took a sleeping pill. Don't know what's up with that, but okay. And then to get into this,
He's awake now.
He's awake now. To comment on that, you guys are talking about all these people surviving. I think this is gonna be a bloodbath, man. I think Sam's gonna live. I think Gail's gonna live, and I think Sydney's gonna live. That's it.
That's it? You think Sam's going to be the only new character?
3?
Really? You think
Whoa.
Sam's going to be the only
Wow.
new character? I should have mentioned Sydney in my thing. I didn't mention her, but I kind of felt like that was implied because we talked about her living earlier. But like, really, you think Sam is going to be the only new character?
Like I'm telling you, this is going to be a bloodbath. In the next movie, we're going to be introduced to all new kinds of people. Because think about with every Scream film, one of the biggest draws to it that I feel like people forget to talk about so many times is the fact that one of the biggest things is the cast. Every movie has a new cast of characters of just these excellent actresses and actors. Like every single time, bringing in all these wonderful new people from that year or whatever, whoever like the most poppin' person is that time of year. I think they're gonna keep that true with this franchise. And then if Scream 6 does happen in like let's say 2 years, it's gonna have an all new cast of characters with like some really poppin' people out there. So I think they're gonna make this one a bloodbath. They're gonna kill most of the people. I think probably 1 or 2 more people survive on top of what I said, but I think those are the surefire ones, and then maybe one other person survives. It's gonna be a bloodbath is what I'm betting on right now.
Wow,
Nice.
that's really wow, Jake. That's That's a hot take, but I like it. I like the thought of it. No, I
like it
really
too.
do.
It's honestly
do.
believable.
Yeah, I mean, it
Yeah.
could be that way. For me, Sydney is 100%. Sydney is 100%. There's absolutely no way, in my mind, anyways, that she's not going to survive this movie. I've got Sam, and I'm really kind of leaning on Mindy. You know, I think Mindy's going to make it. I really do.
Yep.
And like I said, I don't think Wes is involved. I mean, you know, obviously you could go either way. I think he will be a final guy. I think he will, just to give that bridge to Wes Craven. So I've got, what do we got? Sydney, Sam, Mindy, Wes. So I've got 4. And my heart is Dewey. My heart is Dewey. So again, if Dewey does not die, I'm having a block party. I'm just going to let you guys know, because no one else thinks he's going to survive.
Could you imagine imagine this block party if who'd you say right then night? I just blanked completely. Dewey, thank you. If Dewey survives, that's
and
Knight's
Stu
got a block
shows
party.
up.
Stu shows up. That's a block party. And bro, I'll tell you right, man, dude.
If Stu,
I couldn't imagine.
If Stu, because I don't think that's I think it's a possibility that Stu is in this movie in the sense of like a flashback, something along those lines, something like that.
Yeah.
But as an actual character, okay?
Yeah.
If Stu is actually a character in this film, a character,
yeah,
then we'll do a giveaway here on the Lethal Collective.
Yeah.
I took the comment off so we could get this part recorded right here for next week.
Because maybe that'll make me more favorable to other people if we get some stuff away. But we'll if Stu is in this movie, because I just think there is no way Stu is in this movie at all, other than, like I said, flashback. So he has to actually be a character. Like, he has to actually be in the film, make himself known, establish, whatever. If he's actually a character in this film, the Lethal Collective will do a giveaway. We'll figure it out and we'll do a giveaway. Because I just don't think it's going to happen.
I 100% support it. I love it.
Yes, I support it too. The collective has spoken. Absolutely.
The collective.
All right. So, hey, look, Marion says change your name to Fate Undecided.
I'm decided that Fate is, or that Stu is in this movie. I can tell you that.
Oh Lord.
That's
okay, guys. This was fun, guys. I mean, this is why we love doing this, and this is why we're going to have a dedicated channel starting next Friday.
That's right.
So, anyways, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us, being patient with us. We hope you really enjoyed the conversation. We had a lot of good predictions, some wacky moments, some hot takes. We're going to try to keep all these in line because we've got a week,
yes.
and for Fate and Jake, less than a week, and then the movie will be out.
So
we and I know Jake will be doing some stuff on his channel. I'm sure Fate will too. So, you know, we'll be around. But again, next Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we'll be on the Lethal Collective channel live with a Scream 5 show. No spoilers.
100%. No spoilers.
No spoilers.
Scream 5. All Scream 5.
100%. Yeah. 100%. That's how we're going to start this thing off.
So,
all right,
be
guys.
ready for that. Be ready.
That is going to be a hot show.
Hey, look, all I know, man, is if those things happen, I may not even be able to talk right. It's going to be too fun. I'm going to have my bag of chips and just ready
me too, brother.
I'm not even going to show up.
Hey, look,
let's have your background.
We're going to have like a cardboard cutout of Fate.
I'm going to have my cardboard cutout. My kid's going to be here. Like,
yes.
We'll have a cardboard cutout of Fate just going like, that'd be great. All right, man. All right, so we'll catch you guys later.
I'll buy a statue of Stu and just put him here.
A statue of Stu.
I love it.
God.
Yes.
We will catch you guys next week. Take it easy, and the collective has spoken. Catch you later. Peace.
Bye, guys.
Peace.
Bye.